Oh, that's my cue. Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Happy Monday to you. Great to be here with you. We are live on the radio. We are live on YouTube. You can watch us, certainly. Go to youtube.com. Search Ben and Woods. Give us a like, a follow, subscription, whatever you want to do. Tell your friends. Listen, we really appreciate you. Any way you could choose to consume us, we're very appreciative of that. Today is Monday, January 77th. The longest month of the longest month of the year by far. It will not end. It just won't.
Never a month longer than March 2020.
Oh my God, that's true.
Remember that one?
Oh my God, this is rivaling it though. January's never my favorite month. Certainly, my wife can attest to that. I think I've been okay this year, but I am starting to lose my mind. I'm Steve Woods, I think. I'll explain in a moment. That is Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
And Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. And as the fellas can attest to, your boy here is losing it. Just, it may be gone at this point, but we got a really nice invitation last week to go out and play a very nice golf course called The Farms. Now, I had not played The Farms ever. I'd heard nothing but amazing stories and some horror stories about how difficult it was. And I have not been swinging the shillelaghs very much at all. And I didn't. Ben said, I don't know if this is the best course to come back to on your first time.
Which is Ben's way of saying, this is going to be torture for you. Sorry.
Bend over and spread them, basically, is what you were telling me. And, boy, were you right on that one. Holy smokes. I think I would rather have lit cigarettes put out on me than try that place
course
again.
Was a monster.
Like, you could put me in one of those things they used to do where you put your arms through the hole and your head through a hole? A stock. I'd rather sit in the stock for 4 hours while you guys played than go play that place again. I lost like 37 balls. I'm not kidding. My balls were filled. I left. I go, well, out of 18. I go, this is my last one. Might as well go for the green. Hit that one in the water. I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. But we had such a great time with the Tier 1 that invited us. He was incredible. Nothing against him. The golf course, though, was tremendously, tremendously difficult. The hardest I've ever seen. And so we finish up, and I said, guys, I got to go. I got to pick up my little guy from school. We timed it out perfect, man. Finished at 4, pick him up at 4:30, and I call my wife on the walk from the clubhouse out to the car, and I get to chatting with her, and I get about 85% home, and I go, oh, no. I don't hear my golf clubs rattling around in the back. You know why I don't? Because I forgot them. I left them at the Farms.
You just walked back out to your car.
My car. No bag on my shoulders,
without
nothing.
Clubs.
Just
you
right
didn't
on
feel
out.
naked leaving a golf course without your clubs.
I'm losing it. I'm telling you. I'm losing it. Dementia, something is setting in. So I call Paulie. I go, hey, good times today. Would you happen to be there still? Paul goes, no, bro, I'm 5 minutes from my house. I go, oh, all right. Well,
Why? What's going on?
I'm 99% sure I left my clubs there. Paulie just goes, oh no, and I lose rangefinders. The thing is, I got 2 small kids. We all had parents. What drove your parents the craziest? When you'd leave your jacket at school, when you'd lose your lunchbox. And my dad, Ben, the jackets that man had to buy for me that I lost and forgot. Or
did you lose them, or did Paul put them in the toilet?
Paul put them in the toilet. Perhaps. Missed that story. Paulie put one of his rivals' jacket, flushed it down the toilet.
He left it in the bathroom when I went to the bathroom.
And he was a bully.
And he was a jerk.
So
I shoved it in the toilet.
Yeah, and left it.
He went and realized, I left my jacket in the bathroom. So, I don't know, 10 minutes later, he went and retrieved his jacket, told the teacher that somebody had put it in the toilet. And
so all they got to do is check the last one that used the pass. Paul Reindl.
Paul, did you do this?
Nope.
No, it wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Well, you were the last one to use the bathroom.
I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's weird because I didn't do it.
One of my favorite stories. But when I would come home, and my dad was like, the jacket police? Where's your jacket? I'm like, oh, please don't ask. I think I left it at school. The rage, just boiling under. He's like, let's be honest, there's like $30 I'm going to have to spend again on another jacket. So you go through that with your children. Anybody with kids knows that. Kids leave their baseball bat at the yard. They leave their glove at the yard. You're like, God dang it, I gotta go buy a new glove. I can't do that to my children. If my kids come to me and say, Dad, I left my glove, I'm gonna be like, all right, sounds good. I'll go buy you another one. Because I do it too. There's no one worse than me. So I left my golf clubs at the farms, had to call our tier one that invited us. I was like, so sorry for this. Can you let them know I'll be by tomorrow to pick up my clubs? Saturday, I had to get up, drive all the way out there, pick up my clubs, throw them in the car. And Bo is laughing at me the entire time. Entire time. He knew. He's like, I guess you forgot it. Guess you're not responsible. I'm like, I guess not.
Well, you jumped ahead a couple of pages in this story, because earlier on the course, when you left the range, you left your
my putter cover.
You were talking about your rangefinder. You're like, oh yeah, I've lost 3 of those over the last, I don't know, year and a half.
Yeah.
And then
where's my putter cover?
Half an hour later, you go, Paul, have you seen my head cover for my putter? No. It was on top of the cart last time I saw it 45 minutes ago. Luckily, the group behind us did bring that one back. But after you lost the putter cover, you were like, you're like, Paulie, I can't say anything to my kids.
Never.
I lose stuff all the time.
All the time.
I didn't know 2 hours later you were going to
forget my clubs.
Leave the golf course without your
my golf clubs, man.
So I have a minor confession to make. So after the round,
you stole my rangefinder.
After the round, we split up. I had to go grab my shoes from the locker room, and I thought you guys left. But I wasn't there. I wasn't there more than 2 or 3 minutes, and I walked right back out. I didn't stay for anything, but I walked out with our tier one who had hosted us. And as we walked back out, I saw your clubs there and thought, oh, Woods is still here, which is what I think would be the logical, he must have gone to the bathroom or something, and I'm actually leaving before him. And then as I'm walking out and we're chatting and having a conversation, I forgot that your clubs were there, but I parked next to you. So when I got to my car
was gone.
Your car was gone, and I didn't put
it didn't register.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together that Woods' clubs are still here, but his car is gone. That is, I should have noticed that.
Listen,
but I didn't.
Maybe a normal person would say, hey, come on, man. It's not your fault, Ben. It's my fault. It's my fault. I lose everything, and it's a problem. I'm going to have to be the guy with like the different colored rubber bands on his arm that I move over to the other arm. Do you have your keys? Move my rubber band over. I have my keys. Did you get your wallet? Move my green rubber band over. Did you bring your hat? Move my red rubber band over. This is me. I'm an idiot, man. And I got home and I was like,
you'll just be, why am I wearing all these
rubber bands
on my
to quote Curb Your Enthusiasm, which we mentioned last week.
Yes.
That's the second feeble thing you've done this week.
I'm feeble.
One more, and
that's it.
You walked into a glass door.
I'm turning.
Spilled tuna everywhere, and then you left your clubs at the golf course.
I'm turning feeble.
Now
right
this is
in
one of
front
those
our
fancy
eyes.
golf courses where when you finish up, they bring your clubs to the front
Clubs
for you,
to the top,
to the drive around.
Yep.
They leave it right there. They don't put it in your car for you.
I was right. I was.
They don't
and
know
I
which
didn't-
car you drove.
Believe me, I didn't think that they were going to. I wasn't like, whoa, it's on them. Like, a normal person would blame Ben or the valets for not doing. No, it's my fault. I just tweeted the other day. Always be accountable. This is me being accountable for being a moron, and I don't. I'm gonna have to really start doing like the mental checklists, and so I'm working on that. But I can't. My kids, you got me. You absolutely got me. Lose whatever you want. I can't say a word about it. Not one. That would make me the world's biggest hypocrite if I did it. It's hard to talk to Ben right now because he is wearing an Ass Pro Shop.
So yeah, a lot
hat.
of people in the chat who are seeing us on TV are noticing my headgear, which was waiting for me when I got here this morning. Yeah. Now, what's the story? Obviously, the story is you broke me with that line, and I absolutely cracked up. What was it, last week?
Last
when
week,
we were talking about
a few weeks ago.
Our trip to the strip club in Glendale, and then what, giant adult stores, what would that be called? And
Ass Pro Shop.
You came up with that line.
Those items.
Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah, the Bass Pro. More like Ass Pro Shops, to be honest with you.
You got me.
Pro shop I would like to go to. See what it's still the same guy, as I said, the same nude guy. the eunuch with no wiener, floating in a tub. Welcome to Ask Pro Shops. Can I help you? What are you looking for? Yeah. So it's great. So we had you guys know we're starting a Tier 1 baseball team, and we had our first scrimmage yesterday, and one of the Tier 1s there goes, Woodsy, don't leave. And I was, oh, and he ran up, he goes, bam, dropped it in the front seat with the Ask Pro Shop, and there it is. You have it. And I'll tell you, never really seen you in a trucker hat. Looks pretty good. It looks better than some of the golf hats that you wear. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you for that. Let's be honest.
I like that better than the floppy
I'm wearing
hat.
it on the show. It's going to take a nice position of prominence here. There's no way I can wear this around anywhere I go.
Why? It's so legendary. It's so legendary. Yeah, he got his Ask Pro Shop hat on. It's the best. When we get him, it's just some of my favorite.
How'd your first what was the game scrimmage?
Yeah, we had a scrimmage yesterday against the SD Marlins. Now they play down in SDABL. We play up in North County. We met up in a field in Escondido, and we're a little bit of a rough start. We were down 6-1, but we came back to win 10-7. And it was a lot of fun, man, seeing what we got out there. And I'll tell you right now, man, the infield that we have is I put it up against any adult league infield out there. Our catcher, Tyler's spectacular. We've got arms. We started to hit the ball a little bit late, so it felt good, man. I had a nice day at the dish. I was very happy. And it just felt good to be back out there again. So it's going to be fun watching the Tier 1s pull it together this year. It's the first time I've played on a team where I haven't played with these guys forever, but you can already see the squad coming together. It was just great to be out there with the boys running around yesterday. So Tier 1s could be a force to be reckoned with. We ended up winning the game. They had a couple of good arms, and we hit those guys, and it was a lot of fun, man.
And when's the first official game?
I believe it is February. I believe it's going to be 18th. Yes, I believe it's February 18th. So, allegedly a bunch of rain's going to be here in February. Who knows what happens, but we'll keep you guys abreast of if you want to come out and watch. There were about 50 people there yesterday. I'm not kidding. They did a little mini fundraiser for the school, so they had a lot of people there, and we donated some money as a team to them as well. And it was a lot of fun, man. And you guys can come out and watch and cheer and jeer and everything else. Our unis should be getting in pretty soon. They're going to look really, really sharp. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Great to hang with the, our listeners and stuff on a Sunday playing baseball with them. It was pretty awesome.
All right, everyone feel warm, loose, ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, we got a full week coming up here, 20 hours of radio ahead. We get it started next. We'll hand out the menus, get you ready for what's coming up on the show today. Don't go anywhere. It's Ben and Woods' First Check of Traffic with Kelly, and Monday is here. We'll try to make it as painless as possible for everybody on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Woods, I like where your head is. I really do. During the break, Woods was saying, I want to talk some Padres. And I go, I mean, everyone's still talking about pretty much how the Detroit Lions 49ers game ended yesterday.
Yep.
Even though we rarely get going with football first, I think we got to tackle the conference championship games yesterday. And we will get into Padres coming up later in the show. But I want to start out this morning. We've got our Super Bowl matchup. It is the Chiefs against the 49ers. It is going to be less than 2 weeks away now, February 11th at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. 49ers opening as 2-point favorites in that game. But we have
I've already seen it go down to 1 point now.
So people are betting the Chiefs now. All of a sudden, the Chiefs, who looked as pedestrian as any Chiefs team in the last 5 or 6 years during the regular season, at this pace, might even be favored to win the Super Bowl by the time we get to the game, if the bettors continue to pound the Chiefs over the next couple of weeks. So they go ahead and hold on against the Ravens. The Lions with some questionable coaching decisions by Dan Campbell. Big fan of Dan Campbell on this show. We've never hidden that fact, but he was certainly second guest, third guest by people across the country yesterday. I want to get into that coming up, but there's a lot that we want to talk about over the weekend. Had the finish of the Farmers Insurance Open on Saturday. I got to be out there for the award ceremony.
Man.
He kind of Detroit Lions'd it, but then he recovered at the end. Matthew Pavone wins his first ever PGA Tour event and just his 11th start as a rookie. So he kind of surprised everyone. The big names weren't able to ever make a run. We'll talk a little golf coming up. Then we will get into the San Diego Padres after Take on Woods and Don't Do This. And we had the spring training invitations, which of course came out on Friday after our show, and we can talk about who's going to show up in Peoria, Arizona here in a couple of weeks. I also have kind of done some, let's just connecting of the dots, shall we say, and everyone trying to figure out what is the Padres' plan? What is their post-Peter Seidler strategy look like financially? Does this make sense? Is this a giant retrenchment?
Great word.
I have decided, at least, and I don't have any, no one's, inside the Padres front office leaking me information. But I've come up with a theory that fits the facts of what's been going on for the Padres this offseason.
And I've seen whispers about this.
I have as well.
Bit.
And it does make some sense when you lay it all out. So
it's a bit of a gamble, I would say, a bit of a ballsy move.
But I want to talk about the potential of Roki Sasaki to the Padres.
Yes.
Maybe one year from now, 1 year hence, from the international market, and why that could be a game changer for the San Diego Padres, and why it might actually be worth a little bit of pain this offseason in order to reap benefits for years and years to come in your pitching rotation. And there's no guarantees here, but I can sort of see a strategy that the Padres might be implementing that could be at least partially focused around one of the hottest international prospects that we've seen, probably the hottest since Shohei Ohtani coming to the United States. And nothing's guaranteed at this point, but the little clues that we've seen of what the Padres have done fit some of the facts that could be a major part of their strategy going forward.
The old tank for Roki. As they say, Benny. Yeah.
Well, the good news is
it doesn't really matter.
It's not a draft. You don't have to lose, but there are certain conditions you have to meet.
Yeah, there's money that you may not spend, so that you don't go over the luxury tax to get Roki.
To maximize
some may look at that as a tanking of sorts.
Potential to sign him, and we'll kind of go through all of it coming up in our 7 o'clock hour. It was this big weekend on, a bunch of other fronts as well in the sports world, obviously. We'll get to the football news, though, here first coming up. Reindl Report in our 9 o'clock hour. We still, let's see, when was our last guest on the show? When we were in Peoria, Arizona?
Yeah.
We don't have any scheduled today either.
No,
so this will be six straight shows, unless someone surprises us. Are you trying to set a new sports talk radio record?
Our last non-fantasy camp guest was AJ Cassavell on Friday, January 12th.
Crazy.
17 days.
We only had 2 guests that entire week.
That's amazing.
I love it.
I love it too.
I don't know. maybe I'm just speaking out of turn here. I don't think the majority of the people that are listening and call themselves tier ones of the Ben and Woods show tune in because they're dying to hear other people talk.
Yep.
That's just me.
I don't disagree with you, which is why I've been okay with it the last couple of weeks. And as long as you keep coming up with good topics, and Paulie's got a good discussion
I would
to get
love
into.
to book a Jesse Rogers, an Eno Saris, a Chris Rose. There's nothing to talk about right now.
There's not a damn thing to talk about in the world of baseball right now, other than our own beloved San Diego Padres.
Holding in a sneeze over
I know,
there.
I can tell.
You know,
It's fine.
I did like sweeping and dusting on Saturday morning, and since then I can't stop. It just keeps coming back every single time, and I've been sneezing for like 2 days. Yeah, drives me crazy. Paulie's got a good topic. If you saw, the Detroit Tigers went out and signed their top prospect, who is yet to make his major league debut, Cole Keith,
Yep.
to a 6-year contract. His idea, should the Padres be considering something like that with an Ethan Salas? If not now, maybe next offseason to lock him up. And is that gamble, is that kind of money and investment, worth it in the long run, what you may save on the back end versus what you're spending now on a prospect who wouldn't make any money for the next, 4 years. They'd be at the minimum even if you brought them up to the big leagues for the first 2 or 3 years. Is it worth paying them more now?
It's the second time this offseason we've seen that.
Yep. Who was the first one?
The Brewers.
The Brewers did
it.
it with their guy. That's right.
Churio.
Yep.
Jackson Churio. Yeah, he signed one as well before making his major league debut. It seems to be the new trend in Major League Baseball. Take your top prospect, take care of them early, and potentially buy out a couple of years of free agency to save what you're thinking could be tens of millions on the back end, but give them some of that money up front so they're not a poor starving baseball player for the first 3 or 4 years of their career.
Yeah, I think it's we'll talk about it more at length. I was very in support of what the Brewers did, and I'm in support of this too. And if the Padres do it with a guy like Salas, who again is supposed to be the truth. You've seen guys flame out so many times, top prospects, so many times. You better be sure. You better be as close to sure as you can when you do something like this. And I think, with at least in the Brewers and Tigers case, I think they're feeling, these are the guys going to be cornerstone. How do you know?
How do you know?
Very hard.
I mean, the jump from A-ball to Double-A is huge.
Very tough.
Double-A to Triple-A is huge. Triple-A to the majors, even bigger. And the only way to find out is to get that guy at that level, which he hasn't been there yet. And that stands out to me as surprising when you see those numbers going around.
But, when you see numbers of top prospects that go out and hit the open market and they're on their way to superstardom, that contract is what scares you too. Can we keep him? Is this our best chance as the Detroit Tigers to keep this guy for a little bit longer than maybe
8 or
we
9
would
years
have?
instead of 5?
Exactly. So it does make some sense. So, but no, we got to get into the football next. That's fine. Talk about the games yesterday. My heart's just broken for Lions fans. I mean, you had that one. You absolutely had that one, and boy, it got away quick.
I mean, you had people probably planning trips to Las Vegas at halftime.
Yeah. At least they're at least
Looking
on
into
Expedia.
Yeah.
They're on Expedia at halftime.
I don't want everyone blaming Dan Campbell, though.
I really don't either.
I really don't.
either.
You certainly can disagree with some of his decisions. I want to get into that coming up next. We'll start with the conference championships in football. Move on from there. On a Monday, Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Boomer season is not over yet.
No.
Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti continues every Friday at 7 p.m. here on 97.3 The Fan and on the free Odyssey app. It is presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos brought to you by those who drink it and by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. By the way, our NFL picks contest, which was supposed to last through the Super Bowl,
it's over.
Playoff picks,
Yeah, it's over.
Is over thanks to the backdoor touchdown by the Detroit Lions. Paulie has amassed an insurmountable lead.
Correct.
In our picks contest.
I've already paid off.
We made up some ground in the first game when the Chiefs won. I made up ground in the first game when the Chiefs won, but I needed the 49ers to cover. You needed the 49ers to cover to stay within striking distance of Paulie before the Super Bowl. We did not. So any picks from this point on are simply for entertainment purposes.
Second place.
Only.
Yeah.
Second place is not worth anything.
I've already paid
There's no money for second place.
I already Venmo'd him.
I had money on Detroit plus 7.5 as well. So when they did not elect to just kick the quick field goal, because you're gonna have to get the onside kick either way due to clock management, and I'm thinking just kick the 3. That's good. That works. Just kick the 3. They didn't. They go for it. I'm like, oh my god, that
got it.
Back of the end zone touchdown. That did it for me.
So Dan Campbell is certainly in the crosshairs today.
Sure.
My feed, I had the temerity to...
You call it temerity. I call it the moronity.
To
suggest it. Not that you're a moron.
His decision was more than defensible.
It's
not what I would have done, but it's not the idiot move that everyone is tweeting about. How could you be such an idiot, a moron, not to kick a field goal in that situation?
If I were your social media manager, right? You're Ben Higgins, social media extraordinaire. I would have said, hey, just take this play off. You have a radio show. You can talk about it tomorrow. Take this one off.
We'll talk about it.
It was too hot. It was the oven. It was too hot. You went right for it.
I'm not going to back off, though.
Wow.
And we'll talk about it right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Soapy Joe's. Couple of problems along the 78. On the eastbound side, San Marcos Boulevard off-ramp, a stalled vehicle, and got a collision on the westbound side at Sycamore off-ramp. Big news from Soapy Joe's Chief Bubble Officer, Tony Gwynn Jr. Have you heard you can create 4 customized ball cards with Tony Gwynn Jr. through the Soapy Joe's Car Wash AR game and win amazing prizes? Visit SoapyJoesCarWash.com for more details. Soapy Joe's is good, clean fun. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So let's start in reverse with the NFC Championship. The Detroit Lions just absolutely ambushing the San Francisco 49ers on the road, jumping out, quick 2 touchdowns. They're up 17 at the half, 24-7.
Oh, just rolling, Benny.
You're in that position. You need to be able to finish that game in the second half. You're up 17 points. Obviously, the lead was gone by the end of the third quarter. The 49ers come back, win at 34-31.
17 points in 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
We'll do that to you every single time.
So,
can I say, as an aside, was driving home from the Tier 1 scrimmage, and this is a little bit Captain Obvious. Kevin Harlan is the greatest MFer I have ever heard on the radio in my life. I felt, for the first time ever, listening to a football game like I was watching it on television. You could not do a better job than Kevin Harlan did on the radio call.
Master of detail.
Right here on 97.3 The Fan.
Looks into the nickel of San Francisco in the secondary. Hey, somebody has run out on the field.
He's unreal.
Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms. Bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
That's all well and good. But the actual football that's going on the field, of course I had FOMO, right? We just finished up a game. I want to get home. I want to get in front of the TV. It's such a visual product. I was fine. I wanted to sit in the car and listen to the rest of the game. He's that good on the radio. Just as an aside, listening to that.
He's terrific.
I didn't miss a damn thing with him on the call.
So I want to go through the second half here and the decision-making and the thought process. 49ers get the ball down 17 to start the second half. They go down, they kick a field goal. All right, if I'm the Detroit Lions, it's like, all right, not great. It's now a 2-score game instead of a 3-score game, but we didn't give up a touchdown. There's only 30 minutes you have to survive in the second half. 30 minutes of gameplay between you and your first ever appearance in the Super Bowl. And the only thing you can't, as long you could be outscored by 16, you're still going to the Super Bowl. Yep. So this is how you have to kind of frame your second half. We need to lose by 16 or less over these last 30 minutes, and we are going to the Super Bowl. Any result that has us going to the Super Bowl is absolutely fine, no matter how it happens.
1 point, 3 points, 14 points, it does not matter.
So the Lions then get the ball, and they respond. They drive down from their own 25, get it into San Francisco territory, come to a 4th and 2 at the San Francisco 28-yard line. And here's the first decision for Dan Campbell of the second half, now up 14, and they decide to go for it on 4th and 2.
Would have been a 46-yard field goal.
Would have been about a 6-yard field goal.
He's on the 28. They move it back 8.
17 10. To 18 yards. Yeah, 45, 46-yard field goal for Michael Badgley. Not the world's greatest kicker, not the world's worst kicker. He's just an NFL kicker. Probably expecting to make that 75, 80% of the time from that range. So it's not a guaranteed. If it's 4th and 2, you also expect to make that convert on 4th and 2 around 60 to 70% of the time. Dan Campbell decides, hey, what got us here? We've been aggressive on 4th and short all season long. My players have been converting. We still have the momentum. I mean, all we have given up is a field goal here.
Yeah.
Let's continue to step on their throat and go for it. I can certainly defend that decision by Dan Campbell. Now, I would have looked at it this way. I would have said, if we kick the field goal here, and hopefully we make it if we kick it, it's back to a 3-score game, and we've just traded 3 points for 3 points. We can do that all game long.
And we'll be fine.
If we're trading the same amount of points that they're scoring,
we win.
We win. They cannot catch up. So as we match what they do, we're good. So I would have probably gone for the field goal there. And even if we missed the field goal, and I go, man, we should have gone for it, not the end of the world in that situation, but I would try to have made it a 3-score game. But I think that decision, 4th and 2, 4th and short, you've been doing it all season. I think it's good for coaches to remain in character for the most part, do what brought you to this point.
You had it. By the way, you had it. Josh Reynolds dropped it.
He dropped the ball. It wasn't the coach's fault that Josh Reynolds dropped the pass. It's very defensible. All right, the next possession, then the ball goes to the 49ers. And they have that crazy, crazy play, the 51-yard completion that goes off the face mask of Kindle Vildor and is caught by Brandon Ayuk inside the 5-yard line, turns into a touchdown for the 49ers. And I'm sure at this point it's like, okay, now it's a 7-point game. Now you're starting to,
everything gets a little tighter if you're the Lions, because at that moment, that's where I felt it was not a good throw by Brock Purdy. He overshot him, and I'm not necessarily saying Kindle Vildor should have made that incredibly difficult catch, falling backwards, parallel to the ground. He looks up, ball hits him in the face mask. You're like, okay, we got away with one. Well, it just happens to carry him to Ayuk, who makes a spectacular play. But it's right then and there you could see the pendulum just go, boom, swing the other way. The crowd then goes ape-ass, and they go nuts. They get way into it. You had taken that very demonstrative crowd out of that game for most of the game. Now they are right back in it, so now you're screwed.
And a little unluckily, you've got the crowd back into it. It's a 1-score game. You're only up 7. The one thing you can't really afford right there is you don't want to do anything that's going to turn it over. So what does Dan Campbell call on the very first play? A very safe run up the middle. Probably the safest call you can make in this situation. And, of course, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles, has the ball stripped out. Again, not a bad coaching decision. That is poor player execution right there. One play, and it's back to the 49ers. They're already in scoring range. They go right down 24 yards. They score the touchdown, and now the game is tied. The offense, now you're a little bit rattled. They go 3 and out on the next series. The 49ers get the ball back. They go down, kick a field goal, take the lead for the first time in the game. So now you are down. All right, this is where people lost their minds. The Lions get the ball back at their 25. They go down, drive into 49ers territory. They're starting to get some momentum back. The offense looks a little more like it did in the first half. You get down to the 30-yard line. You're facing 4th and 3 in this situation. There is about 7.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. So you're starting to get a little tight on time. Here are your options. You can kick a field goal. It's a 48-yarder probably, which is going to be about a 75 to 80%er for your kicker. You can, and if you make it, you're tied.
Yeah, tie ball
but you're also putting the ball back into the hands of an offense that has scored on every possession in the second half, that has grabbed all the momentum. You haven't really stopped them. They've got a great running back, the best in the game, in Christian McCaffrey. You can certainly see a scenario where they can just pound it, go down the field, run the clock down as far as they can, and give you almost no time. If they score a touchdown or a field goal, you could be screwed even if you make the field goal in that situation. You may not touch the ball again and still lose the game in that situation, even though you tied it in there. And even if you don't, even if it stays tied, you could still lose the game in overtime. It's a coin flip, probably less than that on the road. So you make the field goal. There's still a lot of bad things that can happen. You go for it, though, and you convert. You get the first down. You have a chance to score, go down, score the touchdown, take the lead, put the pressure back on the other team. You're up by 4, so they can't even get a field goal to tie it. You force them to have to go down and score a touchdown. Even if they do, you probably still have time left on the clock to go down and either tie it or win it late in the game. There's a lot of good things that can happen if you convert that 4th and 3. This is why I defended Dan Campbell's decision in that situation to go for it and not kick the field goal. Even if you don't make it, you've got timeouts. There's plenty of time left. You're going to need a stop by your defense. You can get the ball back. You can still win the game if you don't make it. Now, they didn't get the stop. The 49ers went down, scored a touchdown, made it a 10-point game, and essentially that was it. But the narrative that Dan Campbell made the dumbest decision ever not to kick a 48-yard field goal just to tie the game, to me, is a huge overreaction of criticism to Dan Campbell. I probably would have kicked the field goal just because I knew everyone would expect me to, and no one's going to criticize me for it. And if my kicker misses, they'll blame him. They won't blame me. And, I want to coach for my job, and I want to be able to, write down why did we lose? Well, it wasn't on me. But Dan Campbell doesn't coach that way. We know that. He doesn't coach that way. Yeah. He wanted to do something to help his team win the game. He went for it. It didn't work. I don't really see the problem with that one. I have more of a problem with the first time not kicking to go back up 17 than I did going for it on 4th and 3 there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, if you're gonna nitpick, I think that was the one where you at least try to put your foot on the throat and go for 3, be up 3 scores. The one down there, man. And again, they had that one. He went for it at that one, then they didn't kick the first one, and he had it. The ball hit him right in the numbers. It's just bad execution.
But I
it's
think
not the wrong call.
That impacts the decision for the second time around, because then you have to look at, I fully recognize that that's the style of play that got them to that point. But I do think you have to also maybe take a step back and look in the moment and not the 17 games you've already played this year.
This isn't week 6. I get it. You're not in week 6 here.
We are dropping passes. We have let them back into this. We have blown a 17-point lead.
Is that a panic move, Paulie? To go? Isn't it a panic move when you're chasing it to maybe, I don't know, go and hedge last night on your bookie's website and end up losing both bets? I don't know that you can fully call it a panic. Is it a panic move?
I don't know that you can call it a panic move when all you're doing is trying to tie the game back up.
But again, we have a buddy, he's a listener, and we used to have him on the show. He used to do picks for us. Our buddy Cash Meddy. He's the biggest Lions fan I've ever met. He's like the only Lions fan that has been with the Lions that I know that's for his whole life. He's like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. He goes, our kicker's terrible. That's absolutely the right call both times. Dan Campbell tries to win football games. Dan Campbell doesn't manage football games to lose. He doesn't do it like I'm going to play smart. He plays and coaches the way that he coaches, and it served them well to this point. He's like, our kicker stinks. he stinks. There's no guarantee he's going to make either of those. But here's Campbell, I think, talking about his decisions.
Yeah, I just felt really good about us converting and getting our momentum and not letting them play long ball. They were bleeding the clock out. That's what they do. And I wanted to get the upper hand back, and
it would have.
It's easy hindsight, and I get it, I get that. But I don't regret those decisions, and that's hard. It's hard because, we didn't come through. It wasn't able to work out, but I don't. And I understand the scrutiny I'll get. That's part of the gig, man. But, we just didn't work out.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine with that explanation. Great tweet just sent to us by Ralph Russo. Lions dropped a 4th down conversion and a 3rd down conversion and had an interception bounce off a dude's face mask into a receiver's arms for a 50-yard gain, and we're going to get bad 4th down takes for days.
Now, did Dan Campbell make some mistakes? Especially on that last touchdown drive when they had 3 timeouts left and there was a minute left in the game and they had 3rd and goal and they ran a run play which didn't get to the end zone and they had to use the timeout, which meant there's no way they can get the ball back from the 49ers if they don't recover an onside kick. You get the touchdown in one of the next 2 plays and you don't need to use a timeout. You can kick it to them. You can get 3 and out. Now, they probably wouldn't have. The 49ers were moving the ball so well. But you had at least a chance.
I'd rather take my chances at getting a 3 and out than an onside kick recovery.
You could have kicked the earlier field goal to get within 7 and saved more time and gone for it that way. The one thing you can't do is burn a timeout trying to score a touchdown. There's just no one recovers onside kicks anymore. Since they changed the rule, it is so rare to recover an onside kick in football, and you put yourself in that position. You're probably going to lose anyway, but you didn't even give yourself a chance. You had to throw on those downs. You can't risk being tackled in the field of play and having to burn a timeout. So, yeah, he made a mistake. We said he made a mistake when he was playing the Cowboys and went for 2 after the penalty when he got backed up in the 7. It's like, kick the extra point, man, at that point.
At that point, we know that you're a riverboat gambler. We know you don't have to prove anything to us.
I don't think this was Dan going, I have to go for it because that's what's expected. That's who I am. The numbers and ESPN's stat gurus put out the statistical tweet. And, these numbers are not exact. They're not infallible, but they are, based on some sort of expectation. Ed Werder, in the 3rd quarter, if they had gone for it, it's a 90.5% chance you win the game. If you kick the field goal, you have a 90.3% chance of winning the game. So it's a coin flip,
literally.
But essentially, you have slightly more chance of winning the game if you go for it. And then in the 4th quarter, same thing. Down 3, you have a 39.1% chance of winning if you go for the first down, a 38.8% chance of winning if you kick the field goal. A coin flip again, but the numbers actually say that statistically, mathematically, Dan Campbell made the right call by a fraction both times. And again, those aren't infallible numbers, and you do have to read game situation, but there's no way that the criticism, the avalanche of criticism that Dan Campbell got is in any way justified based on those 4th down calls. Because they simply was no right or wrong answer on those. You can go either way. Because they didn't work, it was the wrong choice, and I get that, and he gets that, and I respect that about Dan Campbell. He takes that criticism, he'll live with it, he understands it's part of the job.
Absolutely, it is, and it's going to stick with him all off season. But I don't think he's going to change who he is.
And the Lions absolutely charged that game, lioned that game. Whether it's Dan Campbell's fault or not, as an organization, as a team, they will regret that opportunity forever and ever. Even if they win Super Bowls, they'll say we might have had one more.
The one that got away.
They absolutely biffed it.
Yep,
one way or another. All right, let's talk about the other game coming up, and then we'll play a little Take on Woods next here on 97.3 The Fan. I get it. Chiefs fatigue is real out there, but you got to tip your cap. Kansas City Chiefs are going to their 4th Super Bowl in the past 5 seasons after beating the Baltimore Ravens 17-10 in the AFC Championship game. And I'm as surprised as anyone. I know I took the Chiefs. That was only because Paulie had taken the Ravens, and I needed to catch up.
I thought the Ravens were going to absolutely handle business. I really did. That's the one. Paulie and I both were like, "Oh, this feels like a lock." And we were playing the scrimmage, and I was getting an update in the score. I go, "What's the score?" 17-7. I go, "Oh, Ravens? No, Chiefs. 4th quarter." I'm like, "You're joking. You are joking." I could not believe it. And it crushes it. It crushed me because I was like, "Oh, this is Lamar's going to run.
It's his year.
Rampant, a roughshod over these guys," and just didn't happen. Chiefs are one of those teams coming together at the absolute right time of the year, and when they looked so moronically pedestrian for most of the season,
they are clicking at the right time.
Yeah,
but they didn't dominate that game.
No.
The Ravens shot themselves in the foot.
Ravens are
right.
They're a damn good football team.
They absolutely could have won that game. It wasn't 42-7
right.
or anything like that, and they were trying to mount a heroic comeback in the second half. Like they just crapped the bed.
I called Paulie on the way home, and I said, "All right, I'm driving home. The game's over. Fill me in." And he goes, "Zay Flowers, man." And I go, "What happened?" And he told me what happened with Zay Flowers. And I goes, "All right, I got to get home and watch this."
It was a rough sequence.
Bro, I mean, that kid, he's a really good player. He is a really good player. You got to learn from this, man, and move on. But you don't know how many chances you're going to have again to be in a game like that. You cannot take those for granted when you're there. And a dumbass taunting penalty, losing the football in the end zone, is just brutal. It's
slamming your hand on the bench.
Slamming your hand on the bench. Yeah,
open.
I mean, dude, it's a terrible threesome for that guy.
And Lamar Jackson's decision to throw into the end zone, into triple coverage with the interception there in the 4th quarter.
Very uncharacteristic.
His receiver threw his hands up in the air like, "I'm wide open, throw it to me." Who was the receiver? I forget who it was. No, you're not. You've got 3 guys on you. Don't do that. You throw your quarterback off. I mean, it's still on Lamar Jackson to make the decision, but usually like a receiver, hey, he'll throw his arms up. I've got 5 steps on this guy. You got to throw it to me. I'm wide open. You weren't wide open. You had 2 guys on you, a 3rd guy coming in who ended up pulling out the interception there, and you can't make those mistakes if you want to come back in the game. I thought 2 people, though, were absolutely critical for the Chiefs' victory yesterday. Travis Kelce had his best game of the season.
Yep.
You can say what you want about Travis Kelce and the unbelievable amount of media attention he's been getting this season with Taylor Swift, but 11 catches on 11 targets, 116 yards, and that touchdown catch in the 1st quarter, one of the best catches you're going to make in a critical situation like that, turning around, blocking off the defender who hadn't allowed a tight end to score a touchdown all season long against that Ravens defense. But I thought the way the game played out, it shows you that Andy Reid, to me, is a notch above most coaches, and he's obviously proved it the last few years. The way the Chiefs came out and scored on their first couple of possessions, you could tell Andy Reid had orchestrated, all right, here's how we're going to start the game. They had gone through the sequences of the plays that they thought would work against the Baltimore Ravens defense. We're going to go out, we're going to execute, we're going to jump on them quickly. Once they ran out of those plays, because you can only script so many, drives. You got a couple of scripted drives, and then you've got to start reacting to what's going on. Once it turned into a game of, all right, now who's better on the field, who's making the plays, they didn't score again against that Baltimore Ravens defense. But when Andy Reid had all his pieces, all of his chess pieces out there, knowing exactly what they were supposed to do for the first couple of drives of the game, the Chiefs were better prepared to take advantage of that because Andy Reid is the best offensive coach in football, and I don't think it's even very close. Now, the Ravens probably should have come back and won that game. They didn't. They made too many mistakes, and the Chiefs are going to another Super Bowl, but got to tip your cap. Andy Reid pulling off the upset by having a great game plan to start, I thought was absolutely critical in that win.
And, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, dude, 30 of 39 for 241 and a touchdown. He He kind of reached a little bit of villain status this year. It was a little bit uncharacteristic.
He came out like 12 for 12.
Yeah, just came out lights out. He was, the complaining to the refs, the kind of temper tantrumy scene and you started to see the perception of him shift a little bit from, oh my God, what a marvel, to, oh, this is how he is when things go wrong. But who else would you want back there? Who else would you want under center these days? No one. There's not. If you say anybody else, you're wrong. The dude knows how to win. He is 28 years old and is amassing playoff win after playoff win after playoff win. He's
fourth Super Bowl appearance.
Fourth. He's a freak, a super freak with that ball in his hands, man. And I really respect the San Francisco 49ers. I really respect the cachet of weapons they have. How do you bet against Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl?
Lamar Jackson, I think, is the clear MVP of the league, but he came up a distant second to Patrick Mahomes on the field in the most important game of the season, in the most important meeting of the season. If that doesn't tell you, who's the guy you want to throw your chips in the NFL right now at quarterback, it's Patrick Mahomes.
No question.
And, he was let down by his targets all season long. And give credit. A lot of those guys, like Marquez Valdes-Scantling, had a lot of key mistakes and drops, came up with the catch he needed, on third down, over the top there to seal the win. You think earlier in the season the Chiefs may have dropped that one. They did drop that one earlier in the season. They got better over the course of the year. And that's really the goal. It's not to be the best team at the beginning of the year. It's to be the best team at the end. And I think you can make the argument now that I know the Niners are currently favored by a hair, but maybe the Chiefs are the best team at the end of the season. The Niners certainly, they looked better early in the season. The best version of the Niners felt like, October.
That's why I took the Lions in the NFC game Friday was the Niners. They didn't look great against the Packers.
No, not at all.
They lost to the Ravens at the end of the season.
Yep.
They didn't look great against the Packers. I'm like, 7.5 points in the NFC championship, in a championship game. Like, I will take the points almost every time.
And it looked like a laugher. But what if you're Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs now, you look at it and go, yeah, man, they just scored 17 points in 8 minutes. They're a very capable team. Oh. They were getting their doors blown off at home. Came back, won that game, and listen, it was not particularly close at the end. I mean, I know the score says it was close. It wasn't. They dominated the second half of that game. So that's something. No lead is safe with a team like that, and all those weapons.
All right, we need a contestant for Take on Woods. Nobody's on the line right now, so if you want to jump in, play our game, chance to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas in our musical trivia challenge against Woods. Now's the time. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. And, Barry, you're absolutely right. Barry in the chat says, what is going on? I thought this was the flagship for the Padres, not the NFL. They turned their back on us. Why give them anything? We've talked enough NFL now. We have some good Padres talk coming up here right after Don't Do This. I want to talk about the Roki Sasaki plan, which is not an official Padres plan.
Let's make it official.
It's one that I've come up with that
I think
makes a lot of sense. Is this going to be the official plan?
This is the official plan.
The official Padres plan for the next 5 years involving Roki Sasaki. We will discuss Padres baseball coming up. I felt like everybody was talking about those games. I mean, wasn't everybody talking about those games?
They were.
We needed to give a little bit of reaction, but
it's the two biggest games of the
They were. Yeah. They were. And this was September. Obviously, it'd be a different story, but it's January, and guess what? Padres didn't really make any moves over the weekend again. Yeah. So we're still waiting.
A little quiet, Barry.
We'll get to that.
We'll get you, buddy.
Look at all those people calling in.
Barry, we got 3 hours, bud. You're going to get you.
We'll take care of you, Barry. Don't worry. That's coming up right now, though. Let's play some Take on Woods. Take on Woods, brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes, and you don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. Full phone lines. Wow, on a Monday morning. Let's go with, is this Edgar?
Yes.
Are you ready to play Take on Woods, Edgar?
Yes, I am.
All
Let's
right.
go, Edgar.
Woodsy has left the studio. If you can beat or tie him in our 5 questions of musical trivia, you'll qualify for our grand prize 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Tickets to Tom Kiefer and LA Guns coming together to perform on April 11th at the International Theater at the Westgate. Newly designed premier rooms, part of the $70 million room renovations. The Westgate, home of legendary Vegas fun. Here are your categories. We'll bring back Spanish 101. 5 hit songs in the U.S. that have Spanish language titles. Up in the Air. Those are 5 song titles and musical artists that include air. And we have a mystery category as well. Can't give you anything on that one other than the 2-second song will give you all the hints you need. So, Spanish 101, Up in the Air, or mystery category, Edgar.
Spanish 101.
Spanish 101. All right, today's game. Again, 5 hit songs in the United States that all feature Spanish titles. You'll have 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First question's the 2-second song. Paulie's going to play some music. You need to give me the title in Espanol and the artist to score that point. We'll go on from there. Edgar, are you ready to play?
Yes, let's do it.
60 seconds on the clock. The category is Spanish 101. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Edgar. Let's take on Woods.
Pass.
Adapted from a Mexican folk song, which hit didn't reach number 1 on the Billboard charts until it was re-recorded by Los Lobos for a 1987 movie.
La Bamba.
Correct. Which 1993 hit by Los Del Rio sparked an international dance craze?
Pass.
Last Night I Dreamt of San Pedro is the first line of which 1986 Madonna hit?
Pass.
Which 2017 Spanish song by Daddy Yankee and Luis Fonsi didn't hit number 1 in America until they recruited Justin Bieber to join them for a mostly English version?
Oh, pass.
Go back to our 2-second song.
Pass.
Which 1993 hit by Los Del Rio sparked an international dance craze? Oh, we got the one. We got La Bamba. You're not out of it. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. The song was Oye Como Va by Santana. The Macarena, of course, was Los Del Rio in 1993. Last Night I Dreamt of San Pedro is La Isla Bonita by Madonna. And Despacito was Justin Bieber with Daddy Yankee and Luis Fonsi. All right, let's bring Woods back in. See if he starts the week with a win here. Doesn't get the category. Edgar's score is locked in. Get his headphones on. Paulie's going to reset our 2-second song. All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Edgar.
Oye Como Va by... Is it Santana?
Correct. Adapted from a Mexican folk song, which hit didn't reach number 1 on the Billboard charts until it was re-recorded by Los Lobos for a 1987 movie.
La Bamba.
Correct. Which 1993 hit by Los Del Rio sparked an international dance craze?
The Macarena?
Correct. Last Night I Dreamt of San Pedro is the first line of which 1986
La
Madonna
Isla
hit.
Bonita.
Correct. Which 2017 Spanish song by Daddy Yankee and Luis Fonsi didn't hit number 1 in America until they recruited Justin Bieber to join them for a mostly English version?
This is one I should know.
Probably.
Watch My Taint. Close?
Not really. Maybe if you had said it in Spanish. I don't know what the translation is, but it's
I don't know how you-
Despacito.
I don't know how you say paint in Spanish.
You got 4, though, which is a win. 4-1 today over Edgar in
was hard.
Spanish. 101. Oye Como Va, La Bamba, Macarena, La Isla Bonita, and Despacito.
La Bamba is one of my favorite movies of all time.
You like that
I
one?
love it. Period.
With
Isai Morales, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Lou Diamond Phillips.
Phenomenal.
As Richie Valens.
Yeah. Unbelievable movie.
Sad ending.
Very sad. I don't know why I'm laughing, but yes, it was a very sad ending. I think he could have done a little better than Donna, too. I don't think she treated him the way he deserved to be treated.
I remember our music teacher in junior high teaching us that song and all the Spanish words.
For La Bamba.
La Bamba, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You still sing
Para
it?
bailar la bamba. In order to dance the la bamba, se necesita, you need una poca de gracia, a little bit of grace. Una poca de gracia para mí, for me, para ti, for you. Arriba, arriba.
Now put it all together.
Para bailar la bamba. Para bailar la bamba, se necesita una poca de gracia. Una poca de gracia para mí, para ti. Arriba, arriba. It's not great, but
Not bad.
that's what I remember from junior high music class.
Better than I could do.
Well done.
I don't know the words, so I just meld them
You just
together.
kinda just-
La 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 bamba, se necesita una poca de gracia, bonipatia, y arriba, y arriba. Yeah. Brilliant movie, man. Brilliant film. It was really good.
Oh, all right.
My wife loves Despacito, by the way. I should have absolutely known that. She played it over and over and over and over. Man. Always. I would just, Despacito. Ugh. I was not a fan, but teach his own.
All right. Don't Do This is coming up next. Let's see. Vince McMahon.
I mean, I feel like we need a moderator to come in and tell us about. I read probably too much of the WWE report about the things that Vince McMahon was allegedly up to.
It's just accusations, but
Holy smokes, man!
that's not good. That's for
doo-doo
sure.
in there.
Mega
There's
doo-doo.
doo-doo.
Mega doo-doo,
There's poop
unfortunately.
in the story. There's,
DD mega doo-doo.
there's poop involved.
It's not a doo-doo this, though. It's a doo-doo
No.
this, but it's not a...
It's a
a
don't
doo-doo
do this with doo-doo.
Coming up next, after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
You handle this one.
We'll start things out on Don't Do This today with a gnarly lawsuit. Vince McMahon, longtime chairman of WWE.
Co-founder.
TKO Sports, which is the company that owns WWE now, resigned from his position over the weekend after the 78-year-old was accused of sexual misconduct by a former employee named Janelle Grant, who worked in the WWE's legal and talent departments. She alleges that McMahon forced her into a sexual relationship, and then he also passed around pornographic pictures and videos of her to other men, including other employees at the office. And then she details what I guess we could only describe as depraved sexual acts.
Yes. Very depraved. God. Like some of the more depraved acts that you'll
Now, he has denied the charges, say he will defend himself, but they are so hot and so scandalous that even in a sport that is built on scandal and controversy and attention like this, he is stepping away and resigning from his position. He will have nothing to do with WWE going forward, according to the company. You know something's pretty serious at this point when he's not dismissing it and going, just another fake news story. He's actually stepping away from WWE completely because of this lawsuit.
Yeah, and decorum prevents us from, getting into the details. The report's out there if you want to read it. But he did briefly retire from WWE in 22. More revelations of multiple payouts to several women connected to sexual misconduct allegations. There was an internal investigation conducted by an outside law firm. They found $14.6 million in payments by Vince McMahon. In November, he repaid the company that money, and they let him back. And now this scandal has come to light. And, yeah, man, the allegations in it are, like you said, so very depraved. I don't think we can really talk about it.
Comes on the heels, Paulie mentioned it last week, of the new $5 billion deal with Netflix to stream WWE events for the next 10 years.
All right, yeah, go read the report. This was a sad story. This made me really sad. Authorities in Kansas are searching Friday for a prized Jackie Robinson statue. It was stolen from a Wichita park. They are offering a hefty reward leading to its return. I had first heard about the story. I've been to Wichita a few times. I've never seen the Jackie Robinson statue. It doesn't look like I'll get a chance to see it now as it's disappeared. But the weird thing about it's a bronze statue, and they cut it off at the feet.
This feels low even for criminals. Like, criminals should know better than this.
Even a criminal should say, I can't do this. I can't do this.
Can you imagine someone like going into the, Gallagher Square and just cutting off Tony at the ankles and taking him away? By the way, what are you going to do with it?
What are you going to do?
Sell it?
With that? It's footless, number one.
Put it in your backyard. What are you doing with this statue?
It has no feet. So they had to take some sort of saw and saw
bronze
off. Yes, saw off at the feet. And so all you see now, there's a home plate and 2 feet. That's all you see. Somebody went in there and swiped it. Brutal. It breaks my heart. I have no idea who would do this. And I mean, it is. The police chief said, look, this should upset all of us. The individuals who robbed our community of a treasure will be held accountable for their actions. Somebody's going to talk. Somebody is going to say something. They're talking $2,500 for tips leading to the arrest, $5,000 for tips leading to its return. They're on the case there. I fully expect them to crack this case. I don't know what the impetus behind this was. There is no good reason. None. Even for a criminal. Do you get this? The thing is, I don't get the sense it was like, oh, it's just kids.
Kids can't cut bronze statues at the feet.
I wouldn't think so, man. I wouldn't think so. It is brutal. So sad to see.
All right, finally, a little do this for a Monday.
Not Vince McMahon.
Mega doo-doo.
Not that kind of doo-doo. We'll go to the Farmers Insurance Open. I wanted to congratulate. Well, I already handed him the award on Saturday, but Matthew Pavone not only becoming a rookie winner on the PGA Tour in just his 11th start, but the first Frenchman to win on the PGA Tour in the modern era since World War II as he birdies the final hole. And what a shot. Actually, it was the only one I saw because I was standing at the 18th green for like the last 3 or 4 groups, so I didn't see live his collapse, essentially. He bogeyed, 15?
Well,
he almost bogeyed 16. He had to make like a 30-footer for par on 16.
So he gets to 17, and he's got 3 feet left, and he's got a 2-stroke lead. 3-footer. And steps over it. By the way, he's one of the... no, it's the other guy that was... No, he's a fast golfer. Pavone moves really quickly.
He does. He plays fast.
Steps up, 3-foot putt. He missed it. So now his lead is -1.
Over Nikolai Højgaard.
Yep, going into 18.
On the green in 2, putting for eagle on 18. And Pavone goes, bunker?
He yanks his drive left into the bunker, right into the front of the bunker where there's a giant lip. So they were saying on the broadcast, okay, not the end of the world here. You were probably going to lay up anyway. Now it takes that decision out of your mind. Now you know you're laying up, no problem. You got to get it over this lip, though, and you don't want to hit it left into the very thick rough. The fairway is out to the right. Throw it in the fairway, knock it on, make your birdie and win this thing, or make your par and win this thing. My man duffs it out of the sand. Hits it right into the rough, the 2-foot rough that's standing, he hits it 100 yards.
Yeah, so he's still like 145 out in the deepest rough.
Deepest rough
His
you
caddy
can find.
is even going, I don't know if you should go for the green. You might just want to punch it out to the fairway here and play for par.
They said, bro, the water is in front of you.
And he, by the way, on Friday, laid up and then spun it back into the water and finished his round.
So that's
he has bad memories already.
That's creeping in his dome as well. But you have a chance to win this golf tournament right now. You're 145 yards out. You're in the deep rough. The water is staring you dead in the face. And this dude comes up and hits one of the more clutch shots you will ever see. 7.5 feet from the hole. Boom. Walks up, makes the putt, wins the tournament. The meltdown that he was... I watched it and I was like, this is hurting me. It's physically hurting me.
It was Detroit
Lions.
Lions.
It was Lions.
Like if the Detroit Lions had pulled it out somehow in the end.
Yeah.
He pulled it out. He gets the win.
It was unreal.
So I actually got the chance for the first time ever. They gave me an inside the ropes pass on Saturday, which I don't usually have. And I actually walked with Xander Schauffele's group in the fairway, behind Xander Schauffele. I was so self-conscious, though, and felt like I was so, out of place and didn't belong. I lasted for, a hole and a half, and I go, I can't do this anymore. And I jumped back outside the ropes.
Wow.
It was weird. Everything is so, every blade of grass just
pristine.
is perfect, pristine. I'm walking, on top of it, and I'm going, everyone's, looking at me out there, just walking along the fairway. And I was allowed to be there, but I felt very self-conscious with the inside the ropes pass on Saturday.
So you bailed on it.
So I bailed on it. And then I just ended up going to 18 and watching them all come in as I got ready for the...
That's good self-awareness on your part.
I guess so.
I think.
I mean, it's such a privilege and
is.
an honor to be able to walk inside, get up as close as you wanted. Could have gone and chatted with Austin Kaiser, his caddy, whatever. I didn't, though. And I just hung back, and I still felt out of place. So that is don't and do this for a Monday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
So I feel like I've cracked the code on what the Padres' strategy for the next 12 months may be. I am speculating, but I'm going to lay out my case as to what the Padres are trying to accomplish here. And we'll do that when we come back. Next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. The 2024 Pro Bowl games are this Sunday. You can hear them right here on 97.3 The Fan.
I've been waiting all year for this.
The skills competitions.
Well, the good news is you don't have to pay for them on the Odyssey app, which is also free.
That's
starting
true.
at noon, live from Orlando, Florida. Do you think most guys would rather be going to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas or the Pro Bowl games in Orlando?
Yeah, I think they'd rather go to the Super Bowl, bud.
I don't know. I mean, you've got Disneyland, you've got Universal Studios there in Orlando. I bet the families are probably thrilled to be going to the Pro Bowl. They're going, we didn't want to go to Vegas anyway
That's
for the
true.
Super Bowl.
That's true.
We're going to have a much better time at the Pro Bowl games in Orlando.
Yeah.
All right, Padres fans, I'm going to take you down a road of speculation.
A Rocky road.
A Rocky road, yes. Very Rocky.
Very Rocky.
Conjecture. No facts at all. But I'll tell you what, when I finish my story, you're going to agree that this is the Padres' plan of action. That's at least my belief, that you're going to agree. We'll get to that right after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive-through oil change. Got a collision in the North County now. This is along eastbound 78 at Sycamore. It's got the right lane blocked. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for discounts. Locations nearest you. Valvoline Oil Change centers are open 7 days a week. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I talked to Chris Kemp last week. I think you guys were out playing your game
a couple weeks ago
at Fantasy Camp, and I actually asked him about Roki Sasaki. Didn't give me much. He gave me a very A.J. Preller, say a lot of nothing answer about it. But this is a very known quantity. If you haven't heard of Roki Sasaki, he is expected to be the next big thing out of Japanese baseball, following in the footsteps of Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's a 22-year-old pitcher who is maybe even more promising than Yamamoto, who just got a $325 million deal from the Dodgers. Over the weekend, Sasaki signed a one-year deal with his team, the Lotte Marines of Japan's Pacific League, but he also made it very clear what his plan is. Quote, I have the desire to play in the U.S. major leagues in the future. I've been communicating every year. I believe the club understands it too.
His current club, yes.
His current club understands it. Now, the rules in Japan state that you have to play 9 years in Japanese baseball before you can come over and sign a free agent deal in the United States. Like Yamamoto waited and got his 9 years in, and then he signed the big deal. However, like Shohei Ohtani did, you can come over early. And if you're under the age of 25, which obviously Sasaki is.
He's 22.
But if you do that, you're just subject to the same international signing bonus pool that any other prospect, say from Venezuela or the Dominican Republic, like Leo DeVries just was, that the San Diego Padres signed, or Ethan Salas the year before. So the speculation is pretty strong now based on those comments and other things that we've seen that Sasaki may, in fact, be coming next year. He wants to get his big league career started. He's willing to give up, one big free agent deal so he can get more Major League Baseball under his belt and then, hopefully sign a giant contract like Ohtani did after he gets his Major League service time in the United States.
Yeah, it's the exact same system that allowed Ohtani to come over early for the Angels.
It's really the only thing left in baseball, other than just good draft and development, where you can get a financial advantage. You can pay a superstar player potentially for peanuts, for a signing bonus that can't really be any more than $5 or $6 million. That's pretty much the maximum bonus pool right now.
If he has to wait another 4 years, he'd be 26. Right. If he has to wait another 4 years and pitch in Japan, which he does not want to do, then he could come over as a free agent
and do like Yamamoto and do the whole thing. But it sounds like he wants to come over early. So here's where it turns from at least reported news to some speculation. We know that A.J. Preller has been very strong on the Asian market and scouting, and went strongly after Shohei Ohtani when he was coming over for the first time. Signed 2 players, one from Japan, one from Korea this offseason. Ha-Seong Kim, of course. He has had a lot of connections with Asian ball players in the past. And Roki Sasaki seems like he would be right up A.J. Preller's alley. Now, in order to offer him, if he does come out next year, the maximum bonus that you can, you have to avoid the penalties that come along with exceeding the luxury tax threshold. The Padres were one of the teams that were dinged about $1.5 million, in that bonus pool. Fortunately, they were still able to sign DeVries, but they need to get in compliance with luxury tax rules to rebuild their bonus pool up in order to give a maximum offer to a player like Sasaki in the offseason. So it kind of makes sense if that is one of the reasons why the Padres are retrenching their payroll. It could be because they want to go make a big play toward Roki Sasaki in the offseason. But that's probably true of every team. They're all going to want to sign Sasaki and want to give him the maximum that they can under their pools. What is very interesting, of course, is that Yu Darvish is very close with Roki Sasaki, has been a mentor to him, has basically schooled him on breaking balls, and Sasaki, from all reports, looks up to Darvish as like his idol.
That's his guy.
Which could give the Padres, and you're looking for any tiny advantage when you are trying to sign an international player, because money is not the difference. Everybody, as I say, can offer just about the same money. What separates your organization from everybody else? The Dodgers will obviously try to sign him. They will push, hey, be teammates with Ohtani and Yamamoto. The Padres will go, we have Darvish. We have him locked up long-term for more years than anyone really ever would have thought he would have been here.
Yeah.
But by the way, the probably exact number of years you will be signing with us. So you know he's here when you're here, and you can sign with the Padres and be with your mentor, your idol, as you adjust to Major League Baseball and learn how he did and adjusted to Major League Baseball at the same time. It seems as though with the Padres, not jumping into free agency and lowering that payroll under the competitive balance tax, if you're trying to look and say, well, maybe it's because they don't have any money and Peter Seidler is gone and it's simply financial constrictions. It's the debt ratio and the debt service rules. It may be part of that, but it may also be part of a bigger strategy to try to land a player that can be a real difference maker that doesn't impact your bottom line for the next, 5 to 6 years, a potentially superstar pitcher you can add to your rotation that you have been kind of planning perhaps for the last 2 or 3 years to want to make a play toward him next offseason. Now, there's no guarantee he's coming out.
Nope.
We don't know for sure, but the tea leaves are pointing toward Roki Sasaki to Major League Baseball next offseason, and the way the Padres are operating this offseason makes it seem like they want to be in the best possible position to make a play at Roki Sasaki next year.
And I don't think that's necessarily a huge reach at all by you, and as far as your speculation goes. They did talk about he may have, and Jeff in the chat is not Jeff. I'm sorry, who was asking the question? Michael said, why would they do this, the Japanese team? And they won't really have a choice. I mean, they hold his rights, but I did read he may have a provision in his contract that they're not talking about. Like, they haven't confirmed that there's a provision.
That when he said, I believe the club understands it too.
Correct. Like, yes, they hold his rights, but there would be no posting fee or anything like that for this, would there? No. This is just your international bonus pool money that you can offer him, and if he wants to be here, you absolutely could get him.
It feels. I mean, there's some smoke here. Is all that I'm saying.
Well, if you really want to go tinfoil hat, then you look at it and say, yeah, that's exactly why the Padres extended Yu Darvish. This is part of
it's part of my theory. 4D
chess type scenario, knowing he was going to be potentially available. I'm sure there's been communication, and that would make a lot of sense. It certainly makes me feel a little bit better, Ben. But of course, now if we are a year from now and the Padres have just locked up Roki Sasaki, I take back every bad thing I've ever said about AJ Preller, ever.
and here's also the thing. There's no guarantee that Roki Sasaki is going to be a superstar. Certainly the signs are pointing toward that direction, but we don't know. I remember when the Padres are going after Shohei Ohtani, and I was kind of bummed they didn't get him. Part of it was the fact that the National League didn't have the designated hitter at the time. We know A.J. Preller learned Japanese. He went all in. He wanted him badly. I don't think I realized how disappointed I should have been, though. Now, of course, in hindsight, you realize, oh, man, that guy could have been a huge difference maker for anybody at the salary that he was making and the levels that he was producing at, what he turned into. You don't want to miss out on the next pitching sensation. And Roki Sasaki may be the guy, and you feel like the Padres are going to do everything they can to put themselves in the best position to sign him if he does come to the United States next year.
If this conspiracy theory is true, does that give you any pause that we handed out a 6-year, $100 million contract to hopefully, maybe, potentially land a guy that maybe, hopefully, potentially could come to Major League Baseball in a couple of years?
Yes, until it happens. Like I said, if it happens, you're the smartest organization that I've ever seen playing that long game like that. It's a big if. It's a big if. There's a lot that has to go in your favor. But no, I'm Paulie. If he is like, no, this is where I want to be, and this is who I want to play for, and you get him, yeah, it's worth it. Worth it, because they say he's a better prospect than Yamamoto. He's younger. Through that perfect game, he's nasty. Top of the rotation guy for the next however many years.
Right.
And I understand there's a comment in the chat, too, saying, we can't be worrying about next year. You know what, man? I'm not telling you you're wrong. We, as fans, no, you look at the year ahead. They, as the business, the team builders, man, they have to look at next year, and they have to look at the year after that, and they have to look at the year after that.
I tried to look it up. I know that going over the luxury tax dings you on that bonus money. There are other provisions, and I could not find a complete set of rules. There was something to do with compensatory draft picks. I can only promise you that A.J. Preller knows everything about it and what the Padres can do to maximize. Now, when you're coming over and you're giving up potentially, tens of millions of dollars because you didn't want to wait, I don't know that $500,000 in the difference in the bonus pool is going to be that huge of a difference. I think having Yu Darvish around is probably much more valuable to the Padres than an extra $1 million they can offer. But you don't really want to take any chances either. You don't want to say we lost this guy because we couldn't offer him, 5.5, and we could only offer him 4.5 because our bonus pool was limited because of our moves in the major league level. I can see where that could be at least part of the Padres' thinking going into this season.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean they're waving the white flag on this season or they're punting on this season. You said tank for Sasaki. You don't have to lose.
Tank.
There's nothing that says you can't have a great season this year, stay under the luxury tax, and sign Sasaki. In fact, my guess would be the better season you have this year, the more appealing you would be to a Roki Sasaki in the offseason next year.
Well, and just people in the chat questioning it, not questioning you, but just questioning how this all works. And Satan's Blowfish made a good point. Think exactly what happened to Shohei Ohtani. It's the exact same situation. Shohei Ohtani picked the Angels. Right? It wasn't. He wasn't blown away by their offer. All of the offers, it was probably
pretty much in the same
ballpark as the San Diego Padres offer. But he said, "Oh, I can DH there. Oh, I like it here. Okay, cool. I'll do that." And once you get a guy like that, how long did they have him? 5 years? 6 years?
Yeah.
God, time has flown, hasn't it? Holy smokes, 6 years.
Missed a year or so with injuries, but yeah, he was there for about 6.
So it would be the exact same situation. You think about the team. Who did Shohei play for in Japan? Of course they don't want him to leave. Of course they don't.
But you don't want to hold a guy hostage who doesn't want to be there.
That doesn't want to be there. And again, if there is some provision in his contract allowing him to do exactly what Shohei did, it would be...
Or even an understanding, a handshake agreement, whatever it is.
It would be amazing if the Padres could go out and get Roki Sasaki. And if that is the plan, it's a brilliant plan. But only if it works.
I have the desire to play in the U.S. Major Leagues in the future. I've been communicating every year. I believe the club understands it too.
Correct.
That's a pretty clear signal from Roki Sasaki that, yeah, I'm playing here this year.
Well, he signed a 1-year deal.
But then I am not. I am not going. I'm going to the United States next year. That is the plan.
Let's get the T-shirts made now. Just a big, massive Jinx. Roki. I would love. I mean, I watched some of his highlights. He's nasty. So yeah, that'd be a nice little counterpunch, man. And having a guy like that really on the cheap too for 6 years would be incredible.
And again, I have no inside sources. But I feel like it's more than tinfoil.
Sure.
This
happened. We've seen it happen.
Fits with what AJ Preller usually likes to target. International market is his. I mean, that's his bread and butter, especially Asia. He's been a leader when it comes to scouting and players that have come from that part of the world.
Any fear that Yu Darvish is going to steer him toward the Cubs?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Maybe it was like, you can tell anybody else to go wherever they want.
This
Sasaki,
one, I need you full court press. I need you full court.
We need you whining and dining and booing everything. This is why you got this deal. I mean, we want you to pitch too, but mostly we want you to convince Sasaki to come here.
Recruit. I like your theory, and I think it holds water.
Oh. All right, we will come back. We got 2 hours to go. We haven't talked about the Padres spring training invites. There was one minor surprise for me. We'll get to that coming up next on The Fan.
All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Monday. Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Thanks for listening. Thanks for going back and listening. Any way that you consume us, we really, really appreciate it. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning to you, Benjamin.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
You have your Ask Pro Shops hat is covered up by your. There we go. That's much better. You don't
For all the
need
YouTubers who haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you don't need to cover that up. It says Ask Pro Shops on it, and it looks good.
It's your adult superstore.
Yeah, the adult superstore Ask Pro Shops. It looks good on you. I never would think that a trucker hat.
Pull it off well.
He really does. Better, I'll say, better than a golf hat.
What's the difference? I mean, obviously they've got the mesh size,
Yep.
but that
and
shouldn't
the bill is a little different.
It's the bill?
Yeah. You look
like Paulie's got the big old bill on his Padres.
right.
This is
hat.
a fitted hat.
That's a fitted hat.
Much bigger
You've
bill.
got the trucker hat.
You look good in a trucker hat.
Snap back.
Snap. You look good in it.
I
I'm
like
serious.
the foamy
Yeah, the foam.
material.
I
on
do.
the
Oh, I
front.
wear that one. Now I have two of them from prestigious lawn care.
Is that a trucker hat?
Those are trucker style hats as well. And
What's
you say
the one
those
from
look good
Exhibit?
on me as well.
This is a regular
That's
hat.
I think that's
Explicit. I'm sorry.
I think it's a dad back. I call
Dad
it.
back?
Yeah.
I have a
flex fit maybe.
I have a confession to make. I can't play golf with Ben anymore.
Really?
No.
We're done?
I think we're done.
What did I do?
You talked to my backswing.
I did?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Paulie was there.
When did it happen?
I was in the sand.
You were in the sand.
Yep. And I was going to hit a ball out of the sand, and you had hit a really nice shot, and you were walking up, and there was no one around you, but you were saying out your shots out loud.
Oh.
And
As you tend to do.
Sorry.
As I dug in, and I went to hit it out of the sand, I go back, and I hear, oh, another 2 feet. And I shake, and I go, oh, my God. I go, he's doing his own play-by-play for his own shots.
Was that on 17? Where was that?
No,
Late in the
it was
round? Early in the
earlier.
round? Okay.
Front nine.
Yeah, you do the. I warned our guests too. I said, just wait. You're playing with Jim Nance, but not Jim Nance for his own shots. You Jim Nance yourself on the course. Is that like a? Is it like a tick?
No, I think it's more of a internal motivator.
But it's not internal. It's external. It's
very
an
external.
internal motivator. I would play golf with you every day.
I know, but it's like a reward to myself for a good shot. I get to narrate the good shot.
I mean, I'm like a big, and I'm like, here we go. All right. And I'm pretty good out of the sand. I knew I could get out. Here. Oh, another 2 feet. I go, oh my God. I turn around, look at Paulie. He just puts his head down.
I haven't heard you.
Obviously,
I haven't
I
heard
never-
you MF
I
a guy
never
like
knew
this
it.
in a while.
effing him. I'm like, that's son of a bitch.
Never saw it, never knew, apparently. I mean, if I see you swinging, I obviously am not going to say anything, but clearly I was unaware.
He was so far
He
down
was-
low. It was
yeah.
a massive sand bunker.
You were like deep underground, essentially.
and you're just
Yeah.
like, another 2 feet.
Yeah,
What would have happened,
right in
Ben?
the middle.
What would have happened if he hit it another 2 feet?
Yeah,
Would have rolled
You would have
in.
got it. Yeah, you would have hold it. Oh my Lord. I don't know, man. My golf days may be dwindling again. I just don't know. It was the worst round I've ever
It
played
led me.
in my life.
It was so bad. I said to Woods as we're driving around in our cart away from you guys, I go, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I feel like the demise of this show, the end of the Ben and Woods program, will happen because of something that happened on a golf
on a
course.
golf course. Whereas, you're supposed to be out there
Maybe it's
having
better if we don't
fun.
play anymore
No, I love
together.
you. I'm just
then.
kidding, dude. I was just kidding. It popped into my mind, and but you know how like it gives you a lot of when you're thinking about professional athletes, and no matter what sport they're playing, how incredible they're able to block out the noise. I can't block out the noise.
Yeah, when I was at the tournament, I noticed it never really gets quiet anymore.
It doesn't. It's not that silence that
back,
it used to be.
10, 15 years ago,
It was-
everyone would be silent.
It'd be like this.
Now going
Hold on. It would be you. They would line up for a drive, and it would be like this. There it is. I mean, hey, all right. And now there's a buzz, there's a hubbub, there's phones,
and I think what's changed is the the golf tournament is no longer just for serious golf fans. They wanted to make it open to more. It's a party. You go. There must have been 27 different like bar tents. There was the Tito's and the Maestro Dobel, and there was the different beer stations and different fan sections. And you're never going to get people who are drinking all day to be silent all the time. It's just not going to happen. So, and honestly, if I was a player, I'd rather know there was like a buzz. It's when everyone's silent and then one person says something. That's distracting. But if there was a constant, that's why I like when there's music playing and stuff. It's harder to be distracted when there's a constant kind of buzz of noise going on, and that's what happens on the PGA Tour. You'll see it in huge amounts in two weeks.
Is it 2 weeks?
Yeah, at the Waste Management Open in Phoenix.
It's the greatest golf tournament.
There's no silence at all at that tournament. It's the loudest tournament in the world, which will be played Super Bowl weekend.
Now, there is a guy that woke up yesterday morning here in San Diego, California. This is my guess. I'd say 95% chance that woke up yesterday morning and went, oh, my God, I got so hammered at the Farmers yesterday. And the reason that I know that you did, because you were screaming, get in the hole. And I think if you're still get in the hole guy, I think drawn and quartered is probably the best way that we can deal with you. I feel like, remember in Casino when they caught those guys cheating and the guy came up and he had the cattle prod and he just up in the guy's armpit? There needs to be a cattle prod guy on the sly. Just looks like a regular guy walking around any big golf tournament, and he just was walking along. Guy hits the ball, get in the hole, and you just right up, and I think he had a heart attack. I don't know what happened to him. Why are you still that guy? You're listening. You could be listening. You could be a tier 1 of this program, and you're listening right now going, oh, yeah, I do the get in the hole bit. The guy's 320 yards from the fairway. He's got a 3-wood in his, or from the green. He's got 320, a 3-wood in his hand, and you're screaming, get in the hole. I'm going to kill you if I see you. You deserve to be cattle prodded. It's just stop at this point. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's just
very dated.
It's very dated, and it's not cool.
So I had an observation, golf observation over the weekend. I watched the last 4 shots of the Farmers Insurance Open. You guys were texting about it on Saturday on our thread, and I go, oh, is today the final round?
Today the final round, yeah.
I thought they usually do that on Sundays.
Well, because of the football.
I understand, totally makes sense. Didn't register with me at the time. I go, thought I had an afternoon of golf going on tomorrow. Was not the case, so I flipped it on. And I am the most casual of casuals when it comes to watching golf. I do it maybe twice a year. It's usually the Farmers Insurance Open, and maybe the last hour of the Masters. That's just where I'm at. Probably others like me, probably a lot of others like you that will watch a lot of golf over the course of the year. It hit me, though, the whole LIV, PGA, how LIV has kind of totally watered down and ruined the PGA. I'm looking at the leaderboard. I knew 2 people.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah, it was pretty anonymous.
And I go,
Jake Knapp.
Oh, I pulled out my phone and go, oh, where did so-and-so not make the cut? Oh, where's so-and-so? Oh, yeah, they're LIV guys now. They're not playing in these tournaments.
John Rahm not being there was a big one this week. The biggest names, a lot of the guys, Max Homa, the defending champ, was there. Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau were probably the 3 biggest names. And Ludwig Aberg was the young kind of guy. They all made a run on Sunday or Saturday, and then they fell back.
Yep.
And it left you with a bunch of guys that if you're not a real diehard golf fan, you hadn't heard of. Pavone, Hoiberg, Jaeger,
good golfers.
Knapp.
They're all good golfers,
not
on them in any way. And again, who knows if I really would have watched. I am not a big fan of watching golf. I admit that. But if the PGA is trying to get any of the casuals, I totally get it now, because I was like, who the hell are any of these guys?
Yeah,
and
it looked like a Corn Ferry leaderboard.
The winners this year, though, on the PGA Tour, Chris Kirk, Grayson Murray, Nick Dunlap, and Matthew Pavone.
That's it, man.
And Jim Trotter wrote about this in The Athletic. He was there this weekend covering it and said, this could be a problem. I mean, for the real people who just like the stars, who want to see the stars win, you have elevated events, of which Torrey is not one of them. It will be this week at the AT&T at Pebble Beach. Will be an elevated event. You'll see the stars, all of the stars playing. But in the tournaments that aren't elevated, it's going to be like 2 or 3 stars, but what are the chances out of 156 players that one of the 2 or 3 stars is going to be there at the end? So you're going to have to learn some of the stories of great golfers, great stories.
Great stories,
You had
100%.
2 like recovering alcoholics win. You had an amateur win. You had the first ever Frenchman win in his 11th tournament ever. They're all good stories if you're a golf fan, but if you're tuning in to watch Xander Schauffele and Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy, either they're on LIV, they're not playing every week. They're just waiting for the elevated events in the majors. You're not getting the best players playing against each other on a consistent basis anymore, and it's not great for the sport. It's certainly not great for a tournament like Torrey Pines. That's why they've turned them into more, let's do parties, let's do,
let's get
bars,
loose.
let's get loose and have fun. The problem is, do sponsors want to pay for that? Sponsors want a lot of TV eyeballs across the nation, and to be honest, Matthew Pavone and Steven Yeager and Nikolai Højgaard don't necessarily bring in the eyeballs that a Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler, who wasn't playing in the tournament, they bring in more eyeballs, and you're not getting those guys. That's a problem for these tournaments going forward.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, man, as far as our beautiful Torrey Pines showing out, it looked
especially
incredible.
after all the rain they had to make it look as good as they did.
It was stunning.
Fantastic.
There was
Isn't that the recipe? It rains earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Days 1 and 2, kind of cloudy, not looking great. And then when CBS takes over on the final 2 rounds.
It's like the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Somehow it's always sunny and
gorgeous.
passionate that day.
There was a drone shot of a man going pee-pee down in the woods that everyone saw on the broadcast, so that was fun.
In fact, wasn't it one of the players or was it the
I think
security
it was
guard?
one of the players that was going pee-pee.
I mean, it's so if you've ever played there, it kind of is below where no one can see you
But a
from
drone
the gallery, but a drone can. You never know when a drone is watching now.
The getting the whole guy, Dodger fan, 100%? Yeah. Gotta be. Can't hold his liquor. Out there acting a fool, screaming at the ball to get in the hole. Just the worst. Please stop doing it.
In the hole.
Get in the hole. Cattle prod solves everything. If there's even the threat of a cattle prod getting you, you won't do it anymore. And it needs to be trained out of you. Stop. Please stop. Just give it nice shot, whatever. Great swing, anything but get in the hole. It's tired.
All right, let's take.
I know I sound like Andy Rooney a little bit there. Stop yelling, get in the hole. It's not going to get in the hole, number 1. Number 2, you sound like a jackass. Every time, get in the hole, get in the hole. Why don't you go home and get in a hole and you won't do it anymore?
Those stories and Stephen Woods coming up tonight.
Idiots.
On 60 Minutes.
It's a National Curmudgeon Day, so.
Perfect.
Yeah, works for me.
We will we'll come back. I want to talk about the Padres non-roster spring training invitations, which came out on Friday right after our show, but we haven't had a chance to discuss some of the names we'll be seeing when we head out in less than a month now. We are on our way to spring training in Peoria, Arizona.
Boy.
1 month from today, I believe, we will be out there. Live show, probably wrapping up our live shows, I believe, from Peoria. Or maybe we'll even be home already by now in a month.
1 month from today will be our first day back.
Right. So we're less than a month now from our trip to Peoria, Arizona for spring training. We'll get into that coming up next after a check of traffic. Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Because we have Bieber fever.
Oh, my God.
Talked about it earlier.
We did. We did. I thought it was dead and buried. I was hoping.
Trying to help you out. You said
do not help me out ever again.
Despacito. Why don't you come to your senses? Oh, no, that's a totally different song.
Despacito. Why don't you come to your sense? You've been out riding fence.
The Eagles, Justin Bieber mashup we never knew we needed.
No. It may be raining. All right, go ahead.
So, well, I didn't see many surprises here on the non-roster invites. If you think Ethan Salas being invited to spring training is a surprise,
huge surprise,
you're not really paying that close of attention.
Correct.
He got to be in the big league camp last year at age 16. So at 17, not really a big deal anymore that Ethan Salas is going to get to spend some time with the Padres spring training, big leaguers coming up next month in February. He's not gonna break camp with the team. He's not starting his major league career at the age of 17. He'll go back to the minor leagues, and there's a chance we will see him in 2025 on the big league level if everything goes well. But this is simply a growing experience. But before we get into the rest of the roster, I did see the story over the weekend about the Detroit Tigers and one of their top prospects, Colt Keith, infielder, and they decided to give him a 6-year, $28.6 million contract before he has played a single inning of Major League Baseball. And it's not the first one. The Brewers did it with their top prospect, Jackson Chourio, earlier this offseason. And it's a new strategy, especially for teams that are looking to, save a buck, essentially, on the back end. Gamble on a guy that if they pay him more now, they can pay him less later. And this Colt Keith deal includes 2 option years. So the 7th and 8th years, if he is everything they hope he will be.
Team option, right?
Team option. So if instead of hitting free agency, the team can exercise, not nothing, but more like I think it was like in the $10 to $20 million range options for those 2 years. That would keep him in a Tigers uniform.
Actually, yeah, it's the 2030 club option valued at 10. With a buyout of 2.6. The 2031 option is worth 13. And then the 2032 option is worth 15 with a $2 million buyout. So at that point, he will be in the year 2032, Ben. That is... How many years from now?
So if he plays,
he'll be 30.
Assuming he debuts this year, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, he'd be under team control through 2029, 6 seasons. 30, 31, and 32, he'd be in free agency, and now the Tigers will have the option of keeping him around. Now, what does Colt Keith get out of this? Well, he gets some security. There's no guarantee he ends up being a star baseball player. If everything goes poorly, he not only has this $28 million deal, but he's got a couple of, extra buyouts there at the end. If they don't, exercise his option, he'll have a nice $2 million plus going away present from the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers, of course, if he turns out to be a superstar stud, they'll have 9 years essentially of Colt Keith at under $60 million all in, even if they exercise every single option. They'll have that for 9 years of a guy they're hoping is a superstar player, which at today's prices is ridiculously cheap for 9 years of a superstar player.
Yeah, he signed for just $500K, Ben, out of the draft. So he gets you put a contract like that in front of a kid that is on the right path, certainly to the big leagues. Been tearing it up in Double-A, and you look at him and you say, you are our second baseman of the future. And this, let's be honest. Decent amount. I mean, baseball money is such funny money now these days anyway. It's crazy. You look at this. This is a really reasonable decision by the Detroit Tigers. If it doesn't go well, sure, it's going to sting a little bit. But how many times have you signed it? How did the Javi Baez deal? He was a proven big league commodity. Proven. And you gave him God only knows how much money. Miguel Cabrera, you gave him. He was a proven commodity. Didn't really work out in either of those cases. This is a different way. It's a way to pivot and keep a young player that's on the rise, under control, until they're 31, 32 years old.
Now,
it's not the worst idea.
Is this an avenue that you'd like to see the Padres take with any of their young stars, like an Ethan Salas, or I guess Jackson Merrill would be more of the, current, because he's about to make his major league debut probably this season, like Colt Keith is. I wonder how much of a difference. You said $500,000, which is not nothing, but it's certainly not money you can,
You're not set
live
for
on.
life.
You're not at all set. Now, Jackson Merrill got $1.8 million as a signing bonus
money.
with the draft.
Yep.
And Ethan Salas got even more than that 2 years ago, getting the bulk of the Padres' international signing bonus money. Can you be more comfortable as a player going, I'm okay. I'll trust my talents and I'll just play my 6 years and then hit free agency, knowing if the worst comes to worst, I've got at least a little bit of a nest egg. Now, Keith didn't really have much of a nest egg. $500,000. Again, I'm not saying it's nothing, but that disappears pretty quickly in a couple of years when you're not making anything as a minor league baseball player. You're making essentially nothing as a minor league baseball player. Now he doesn't have to worry about it, but he's given up the possibility of making a lot more in seasons 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, and I think if you're Jackson Merrill and you did get $2 million, if you're Ethan Salas and you did get $4 million, I'm probably more likely or apt to say, no, I'm good. I'll bet on myself and get to free agency. Then
This will last me. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. $500K, and they come and throw a $28 million deal in front of you. You say, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that right now. And look, if it works out, brilliant move by the Tigers.
But
if it
could
doesn't,
potentially triple that $28 million number.
And if it doesn't work out, it's not $100 million here you're talking about. So I think I think there are certain guys that you do it with, and I think there are certain guys that may not be ready for it. Clearly, there's something in this young man's makeup, his ability. Sometimes I guess you just know this is going to be our guy. He's on the track, and let's go ahead and take care of him, and then we don't have to worry about it. Benny, we can help build our team around him. I saw somebody tweet earlier, if Padres went and did this with Salas, would it affect Merrill? Would he be upset about it? I honestly, man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it would. There's going to be the opportunity for both of those guys to make good amounts of money in their career, and they actually already have made a decent amount of money in their very short time. So I like this move for the Tigers a lot. It's not crazy money, and could keep him happy and get him moving up the ranks.
It feels a little bit like a hack, like
it does a little bit.
A GM hack to try to save money, but ultimately there are no hacks, because the teams that correctly identify talent, whether it's in the draft, in the international signing, or even your own talent. So now the Tigers are being tested. They have identified Keith as someone that they truly believe will be an impact player. And if they are right, they will they'll game the system and they'll save money in the long run. But if they are wrong, they will have just spent $30 million on a bust. And you can only do that, even for a wealthier team. You can only do that so many times, spending $30 million on a bust before it comes back to haunt you. The Padres are being haunted by some of their what seem to be bust signings. You can't just keep throwing bad money at players if it doesn't turn out and you are correctly identifying talent. So if you're in a front office, if you're a general manager, you will always be rewarded for correctly identifying players who will be talented and productive on the big league level. Is anyone going to be 100%? No. You can't predict injuries all the time. There are factors beyond your knowledge. But the guys who can correctly say, I think this guy is going to be big, you can take advantage not only by acquiring them, by signing them, but by locking them up early and feeling confident that that is money well spent early in their career.
Well, and another good example is Fernando Tatis Jr. When that deal came out, I think we were all like, whoa. And then you really look at the deal and go, oh, yeah. I mean, if he does, and he's on, he's back up rising through the ranks, Benny, and won a Platinum Glove last year, switching position, had a decent year at the plate, and we all expect more things from him. The deal is still a bargain at this point for Fernando Tatis Jr., and it's because you had a little bit of foresight, and I know he's had some speed bumps. I know they were self-inflicted, but that being said, it's still there's not one team in baseball that wouldn't trade for that contract today for that player. Not one.
Couple other baseball big league moves over the weekend. The Cubs signing right-handed reliever Hector Neris to a 1-year, $9 million deal. The Royals sign old friend Adam Frazier to a 1-year deal. I
$2
think
million.
$4 million?
I thought it was
$2 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
His stock has fallen.
It has
quite a bit in the last couple of years.
I think the Royals are going to be an interesting team. It's a wide open division, I feel like.
That's a good point.
I feel like they're going to be an interesting team. They've got innings eaters.
Can the Padres just move to like a central division at some point?
Would be great. Either
it really changes
AL or the
it
NL.
changes the entire equation
really does.
if you can move to a central division. Because
and I know it's a balanced schedule now and whatnot, but still.
Yeah,
man.
Dodgers, Diamondbacks on the rise, Giants signing a bunch of players. If you're in the AL West, of course, you got the World Series champs. You got the Astros, who are always going to be there.
Mariners are young.
Mariners are a good team. If you're in the East, of course, you're either competing against the Yankees and the Red Sox
Mets
in the
and
AL,
Phillies and
or the
Braves.
Mets and the Phillies and the Braves. The coasts are loaded. The center is kind of squishy.
You're like,
and not. I mean, yeah, it's the Cubs always kind of you think might be there, but they're not really there.
The Guardians.
But none of them spend a ton. Other than the Cubs, who don't spend it that well usually. Cardinals are on a down tick right now. That's what they've done. They've just dominated the Central forever. You know what the Cardinal way is? Playing in the center of the country. That's what the Cardinal way is. Fantastic. You have geographically solved Major League Baseball with the Cardinal way. It's just playing in the NL Central.
Play in the Central. Yeah. That's
Brilliant.
the Cardinal way. It's
Brilliant.
the first page. Keep us in the Central, and we will be fine. We'll always be in it. We'll always be in it.
Brilliant strategy by the Cardinals being in St. Louis.
All right, let's talk about some of these non-roster invitees.
We'll get to that coming up. One surprise for me, a little bit, coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. You know, you can listen to 97.3 The Fan with your smart speaker. Just speak slowly and clearly and ask your device to play 97.3 The Fan to give it a shot. Tell me if it works. When you've got your smart speaker out and you say, play 97.3 The Fan. It should come right to us.
Hey, Alexa, play 97.3 The Fan.
Right. Did you activate
Welcome
Alexa's?
to everybody that just started listening to our show.
Thank you. Well, I mean, if they heard Woods say it, though, they were already listening to our show. So I don't know. You're listening now on two different devices at the same time.
Maybe they were listening on their phone.
On their phone. Now they're listening twice. Good for us.
All right. Roster invites for Padres spring training announced on Friday. 32 players joining the guys who are already on the 40-man roster coming to Padres spring training in Peoria next month. Get into that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Just a couple problems here. Crossing the clearing stage, North 805 at the 163. That is over to the right shoulder. Now a stalled vehicle, eastbound 78 at Escondido Avenue. It's got the right lane blocked. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, go through the names here. We mentioned Ethan Salas, so we'll start at catcher. Also, Kevin Plawecki, who was a guy with big league experience who got a non-roster minor league invite, and Chandler Siegel will round out the core of catchers who will join, obviously, Kyle Higashioka and Luis Camposano already on the big league 40-man roster in Padres camp. Infielders, Marcos Castañon, Mason McCoy, Jackson Merrill, Nate Mundu, Graham Pauley, and Tyler Wade. Other than Merrill and Pauley, who we know as hot up-and-comers in the Padres system, don't know a ton about the rest of the guys. Mason McCoy, I've heard his name a couple of times before. Anything on any of the other guys, Woods, there?
No.
Outfield, and this is, of course, a little more intriguing just because
we don't have
all you've got is Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jose Azocar coming in with a big league club. Bryce Johnson, Jacob Marcy, Oscar Mercado, Calvin Mitchell, Tirso Ornelas, and Robert Perez Jr. Will Robert Perez Jr. be the Padres' starter in the outfield going into the season?
Cal Mitchell, Jose Azocar, and Fernando Tatis Jr. That's your starting opening day outfield.
Again, no surprise that Marcy is going to be there in the big club and probably has an opportunity to make the team going into camp.
Potentially, yeah. And there's, no, like you said, there's no majors. I would have liked to see a Brian O'Grady on that list maybe for a spring training invite, just to see.
I think we're all excited about the possibility of Jacob Marcy getting an opportunity to make the team. What you don't want is, well, he has to be the starter even though he hit 132 in the spring.
Right.
You don't want to put yourself in a situation where a guy who struggled in spring training is your starter by default because you didn't have any other options.
Correct.
That would be my worry going into camp. On the pitching side, right-handed pitchers, Lake Bacher, Ryan Bergert, Drew Carlton. We've seen him before on the big league level. Giovanni Cruz, Matt Festa, Nick Hernandez, Kevin Kopps, Moises Lugo, he's got some big league experience. Adam Mazer, one of the up-and-coming prospects. Tommy Nance, Drew Thorpe, just got him in the Juan Soto trade with the Yankees, and Nolan Watson on the right-handed side. And then left-handed pitchers, Daniel Camarena, never seems to go away. Ryan Carpenter, Austin Krob, Javian Sandridge, didn't know that name, and Robbie Snelling getting an invite to camp. Most of the guys who are that core of prospects that we've been hearing about are getting an invitation. Salas, Snelling, Marcy, Pauley, the names that got brought up to Double-A, a lot of them late in last season to play together. No Dylan Lesko getting an invite. Now, he's only 20 years old. It's probably a little bit early. I wouldn't have been shocked, though, just to see him there together with everybody else, to see him get an opportunity. So he's not one that was given that opportunity or option. Nathan Martorella was another name that we've been hearing a lot about that did not get an invitation to big league camp there. So, but other than that, there wasn't any real giant surprises on that list for me.
No, and kind of a dark horse, I think, to watch out for is, probably Tirso Ornelas, Ben. Just 23 years old.
Still just 23.
feels like he's been 23 for a while. He's a bit of a dark horse. Listen, he swings the bat from the left side, hit 15 bombs last year, almost double his career high. It's still not a lot, but he posted an 823 OPS. He hits lefty, can play left field. It's not confidence inspiring right now at all. When you sit back and look at the holes that the Padres have, doesn't feel like they're in any hurry to fill them yet. Could be they're saving money for Roki Sasaki next year, as you mentioned earlier. It just could be there's nobody that they feel is a good fit yet in their price range. I don't know what that price range is going to be, but it feels like it's going to be on the cheap. As far as trades and things like that go, sure, there's still an opportunity for those things to happen. I keep hearing the name Cedric Mullins is brought up. Aaron Hicks is sitting out there, as Craig talked about last week. There's bodies. There's guys out there that can play. So at some point soon, you figure this week they're going to have to get some of these heartbeats in camp.
Just to be clear, I see Viva Padres in the chat. Surprised not to see Luis Patino on the list. He doesn't have to be on the non-roster invitees because he's on the roster. When they claimed him, he went on to the 40-man roster. So he'll be there along with the other pitchers that are already in the big leagues. And there's a few names as well that are younger guys who happen to be on the 40-man, like Iriarte is already on the 40-man, I believe. So he should get that invitation as well. Jairo Iriarte, who has not pitched in the big leagues yet, but is on the 40-man. So he should be in camp with the Padres as well. So keep that in mind, that list is simply the non-roster, non-40-man guys who get an extra invitation. Everybody on the 40-man, of course, also gets an invitation and actually is required to come to spring training with the San Diego Padres. If they want to get their paycheck and everything. That's part of the deal as you show up to spring training. So, yeah, that's not the entirety of the list. That's simply the guys who are minor leaguers who wouldn't have been invited automatically otherwise.
Tim says in the chat, same holes everyone has except for the LA Dodgers. I disagree with that. I do. I think I think the sheer number of holes, and sure, there are other teams looking to fill maybe a fourth outfielder spot. We'd love a left-handed hitting outfielder. Sure, bro. We're talking about starters at the big league level. Of which we, in the outfield, you have one right now, one starter caliber player in the outfield. Every day that goes by, I continue to think that maybe they're just going to roll out there, depending on Manny's health. They're just probably going to end up rolling Cronenworth, Kim, Xander, and then Matt Batten or something at third to be a stopgap. Eggy Rosario. I mean, guys that are already on the roster that are probably going to make the team.
They played well at the end of the season with those guys mostly manning third while Manny was DHing, and so, they did play well.
If you go out and if Manny does, and from all we hear, Manny's ahead of schedule. We don't know. Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't even know if he's going to be ready to tee it up at third base on opening day. So the good news is, I guess if there's any good news, you do have a little bit of flexibility in your infield. And if you go out and sign Carlos Santana or Brandon Belt or something to play first base, then you have a little bit more. Jake can move to second, Hassan Kim can move to third, and you feel semi-decent about your infield until Manny gets back.
I'm starting to feel more confident that, if you heard last hour and I talked about my Roki Sasaki theory and why the Padres are trying to scale back payroll more strategically so they can, offer a maximum bonus to Sasaki. I'm more convinced that they're going to pull off a trade at some point for a cost-controlled outfielder. Someone who's not going to break the bank, put them over the, limit. They're not going to have to sign a big, giant free agent deal to, but can hopefully be a left-handed bat in the outfield. It's going to cost them a prospect, and hopefully they identify the right one and the right team to make a deal with. But it feels inevitable to me that there will be a trade for a somewhat reasonably priced outfielder that will join the Padres, if not before spring training, during spring training. I still think the Jurickson Profar move is almost guaranteed at some point.
I think they're just waiting out a price. I think they're just waiting out a price.
They're both just kind of waiting to see who blinks, but eventually that seems like it will be a move, and Profar will be a switch-hitting option that can play a decent outfield for the Padres as well. But I do think that maybe a trade is coming, and one of those prospects will be essentially sacrificed so they can stay under the luxury tax with an outfielder who's not making, $25 million this year, that puts them over the top and still gives them a chance to compete this year with some major league quality bat, outfield, something like that will join the team at some point.
Yeah, the first baseman scene for me too. The more I think about it, I mean, this is desperate times, man. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and people keep talking about Brandon Belt. The more I listen about Brandon Belt, the more I can be convinced on Brandon Belt playing first base. Championship pedigree. Actually, didn't have a terrible year last year. I'm looking at it going, I don't know what he's going to cost. What is he? $8 million, $6 million. You're going to have to sign a few one-year guys to plug these holes for now.
Still don't have a DH.
No DH.
I mean, you got outfielders, DH, and then maybe a first baseman.
Correct. And then another starter as well.
You got briefly fooled by the Max Kepler trade rumor.
Yep.
To me, that still makes a lot of sense. I assume that the Twins are going to hold out for a pretty high price because they're not a lot of left-handed hitting outfielders on the market that are only making around, $10 million this year. And even for a rental, they're going to probably ask for a lot. But, man, in terms of a guy who solves some issues for the Padres, Kepler would be one of them. If he stays healthy, which is a big if, a guy who can put up a 3 to 4 WAR season, can play outfield, is a left-handed hitter. He checks a lot of boxes and doesn't break the bank. Checks a lot of boxes for the San Diego Padres if you can work out some sort of deal.
Yeah, and it just, depending on what you have to get back for him, that's the other thing. You don't want to trade a Jackson Merrill for 1 year of Max Kepler.
You don't.
But
But if you're the Twins, you're asking high.
Yep.
Just like Preller is going to continue to ask very high on a Ha-Seong Kim trade, the Twins are going to ask very high, and they're just going to wait it out because there's no reason for them to just give up a player for a mid-level prospect right now when they're more than happy starting the season with Max Kepler. It's not like he's breaking their bank either. So they have something valuable. They're waiting it out. Padres have something valuable in Ha-Seong Kim. They're not going to give him away for nothing. They're going to keep asking high, and maybe there's no agreement to be made. But if you're looking at one player that makes a lot of sense for the Padres, under all of those circumstances, to me, Max Kepler is definitely one of those guys.
Michael said in the chat, the thing with Belt, I worry we get Matt Carpenter 2-0 where Preller buys high on an old vet and overpays for what should be a DFA candidate that can't be DFA'd. It's obviously a concern really with a lot of these guys that are left on the market. I mean, there's not, if any of these guys, other than, of course, the premium Blake Snells and the Cody Bellingers and guys like that, other than that, man, there's going to be a lot of those guys. And while he was really quick to stock up on those guys last year, this year, being a little bit more, maybe he is feeling the same way you are, Michael, right now, going, well, yeah, I mean, if I could get Belt at X, I would do it. But he wants X plus 5, and I can't do that.
That's the thing. When you talk about a guy like Belt, the signs point toward older, decline, and most of those guys, you're right, will end up probably being disappointing for the team that signs him. But there will be one or two that will have one last great season. And the teams that identify those correct guys on a fairly reasonable deal will have a great player on their hands, and it'll be a genius signing. You got to be right. You've got to be right when you decide on these players. And
if we're just punting and or whatever, tanking for Sasaki or whatever their actual plan is,
save for Sasaki.
Sure,
you don't have to tank.
And you know
in fact,
what?
Winning is better to get Sasaki.
If that's
it's better
the case,
to win.
Just give me Joey Votto for the vibes.
I know. Watching him flail up there, if he wasn't ready and healthy and like he is capable of, would break my heart.
It feels like there's a premium to be paid just for the name Joey Votto, and it's a premium that I don't know that the Padres can afford just for a name and for vibes.
He's been pretty open and honest about his social media, on social media, about his impending free agency, and it's weird to watch Joey Votto kind of begging for a team to sign him.
I know.
It's weird. Like, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit, and they haven't yet, so... he would be great, of course. Yeah, for a radio show to have Joey Votto in town, it would be the greatest thing ever. Is he going to help the Padres win baseball games in 2024? I don't know. I wish I did. I wish I could.
Or maybe he's that guy who has one last season and
run in
you
him.
Take advantage of it. It's certainly a position, a DH, a left-handed hitter that the Padres need. Who's the right one, though? because you're not going to get a chance to sign 4 guys and hope one of them fits.
Yep.
You probably get one chance at this, and if you want to have a really good season, you're going to have to be right about it. The scouting skills have to be sharp on who you pick as your one guy that you can afford to bring in.
Well, I mean, in our case, our 4 guys that we're going to be having to bring in at some point. Because, again, 1 more starting pitcher at a minimum, 2 outfielders, and probably a first baseman / DH. That's 4 to 5 positions. That's like the minimum that you have to get in the next few weeks.
And then you still don't have a bench.
Right. Well, your bench is Eggy, and it's Brett Sullivan, and it's
Zokar.
And Zokar, and Higashioka, and okay, fine.
And there's only really 4 guys now on a major league bench anyway.
True. Yep.
So you need a backup catcher. You're going to have a Zokar as a backup outfielder. You need starters, not bench players right now. All right, we've got 1 hour to go. Paulie is going to be talking about eating in the shower in the Reindl Report.
All right, we've lost it.
Got that coming up. It was also a huge weekend locally. I'll tell you why coming up on The Fan. Final hour of Ben and Woods on a Monday, 9 a.m. Annie and Elston coming up at 10 o'clock today. Congratulations to the Tier 1s for winning your first Adult League baseball game.
Scrimmage. Just a scrimmage.
Well, you were in good company this weekend because I don't know how often this happens in San Diego. And I'm sure if you dig deep enough, someone probably lost this weekend. But as far as I can tell, every team we had that played won. The Seals won 12-11 over the Philadelphia Wings on Saturday on the road. Had to hold on. Gave up 4 unanswered goals at the end, but then held on in the final minute to improve to 5-2 on the season. And Woods, you'll be back on the mic this Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock at home, Pechanga Arena against the Colorado Mammoth. First home game in like over a month.
The old Sunday 3 p.m. game. It's Military Appreciation Day, so excited about that. Yeah, get back on the mic. It's going to be weird driving to Pechanga, and it's light outside when I, walk in and maybe even when I leave. Who knows?
The Sockers won on Saturday at home against the St. Louis Ambush, 8-2, but then they had the old road turnaround, had to fly to Tacoma to play the next day. It's like completely unfair.
Okay, I want to hear about.
So, do you want to hear what happened in this game?
Right. I saw Craig Elston losing.
Yeah, I was following it at the end, and I'm sure Craig will have he'll have the complete details for you. But
do better than Craig Elston losing his mind.
But they were losing. They were losing, I believe, like 7-5 late in the fourth quarter on the road at Tacoma. So they pull their goalie, they got an empty net. They score to get within 1, but they still need 1 more. Time is running out, and it's indoor soccer. They don't add extra time. Once the buzzer sounds, the buzzer sounds. And if you haven't scored, the game is over. With 1 second left, they score a goal to tie the game. But wait. They look at the review, and there was like an offside. I didn't even know there was offsides in indoor soccer, but they call a soccer's player for being offsides. They disallow the goal with 1 second left. So they're down 8-7. But they say, okay, but the penalty actually happened with 13 seconds left. So they put
time back on the clock.
13 seconds back on the clock. No way you have time to score. They kick a pass all the way across. Cesar Cerda kicks this long pass. It goes over the goalie's head. He can't quite reach it, but it doesn't go in. It goes off the board behind him, and then Brandon Scotto's there to head it right in with 5 seconds left, and they tie the game, send it to overtime, and then in overtime they get the Tavoy Morgan walk-off game winner. So they stunningly win 8-7 in a game that looked like they were going to lose for sure.
That's unreal.
And improved to 9-1 on the season. Yeah, it sounded like an unreal game. They've got 2 more road games this week, at Texas on Thursday, at Dallas on Saturday. The Gulls, who haven't been great this year, are all of a sudden red hot. They swept 2 games on the road in Iowa and have won, I think, 6 of their last 8 or points in 7 of their last 8. Best stretch of the season. They won twice. And then in college, the Aztecs didn't play this weekend, but USD won their second at Pepperdine. UCSD is now in first place in the Big West. They crushed UC Davis, a 92-59 in a first-place showdown in the Big West. Aztecs return to action tomorrow night against Colorado State on the road. So pretty much, I don't know how far down you want to go. I don't know how many weekends we have in San Diego that every single team wins every single game, but we had one of those this weekend, which was pretty cool.
San Diego pride, baby.
A lot of pride. Big game, by the way, for the Aztecs tomorrow. Yeah. So they're currently a game behind Utah State. Utah State's 6-1. New Mexico, who won last night, number 25 New Mexico, they crushed Nevada 89-55. They're 6-2. The Aztecs and Boise State are 5-2. So they're a half game out of second, a game out of first. Now, the Aztecs have already lost at Boise State, lost at New Mexico. They need to get one of these games on the road against one of these top teams. Colorado State, who was off to that great start early in the season, I think they were ranked up to like 12th or 13th. They've been struggling. They lost at Wyoming last week, one of the lower teams. They're now 3-3 in the conference. You got to go in and get one of these and steal it because you got tough games coming up. So I feel like this is a pretty critical game for the Aztecs to keep pace, to stay just right there on the heels of Utah State, who they're going to be playing at Viejas, I believe, this weekend. This is one of the bigger ones for the Aztecs this season tomorrow night.
Big stretch. Yeah. Big stretch coming.
Very big stretch. And the Lobos after they beat the Aztecs, they've been on fire. They're up to 15th in the net rankings, which is even higher than San Diego State, number 20. You'll have the new AP rankings come out in 1 hour this morning. Not sure. Aztecs just had the one game. They won it last week. Yep. Will they move back into the top 25? I've got no idea.
My guess is no.
Probably not, but they were
Probably
27 and they didn't lose.
That's
so
true.
you could, depending on, I don't know how many teams in like the 18 to 25 range lost, but you could move back in. New Mexico's probably moving up, though. They've been playing really, really well. So we'll see what happens, but big game tomorrow night for San Diego State. All right, let's get to the Reindl Report and some headlines.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Gentlemen, we'll start off in the NBA. Some news over the weekend. A Woj bomb on Saturday had the news that Adam Silver is in the final stage of negotiations with the NBA Board of Governors or the team owners to sign a contract extension that'll keep him as the commissioner of the NBA through the end of the decade. So, whatever, 6 years or whatever. And that's important because the NBA, in those next however many years that he will be the commissioner, they are hoping to land another new media rights deal as well as possibly league expansion. And he's been the commissioner for about 10 years now already. He's their guy. He's the guy that they want to head up those negotiations.
And the expansion will be in Las Vegas, allegedly, potentially.
Seattle, Vegas.
Seattle, Vegas.
I think there's a couple of
Nashville,
other cities. Nashville.
is one of
Nashville's
them
a
they're
hot
talking about.
topic.
Yeah. Did they say how much the extension might be worth for Adam
I
Silver?
could not find prices.
Because he's smarter than all the other commissioners. He's the only commissioner that is not universally hated by
Correct.
everyone.
Yeah,
which
true.
is pretty much an accomplishment in this day and age.
That says something.
If I'm Adam Silver, I'm almost like I want less than Goodell.
Yes.
Goodell gets criticized so much for making like obscene amount of money. If I'm Adam, I want to stay a little bit more under the radar.
Under the radar is probably the best.
I'm making plenty, but let's just keep it under the radar
It's
a
like
little
we
bit.
were playing golf on Friday, and Paulie and I were looking at some of the houses around there. There's this big house at the top of the hill, and Paulie goes, "Look at that house." And I looked at him, I go, "It's too much." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "It's too much. I don't want that."
That
because
14th bedroom.
Yeah,
I mean, who?
I said, "Well,
when do you need the 14th bedroom?"
well, but the thing is like, think about all that goes into that house, and you know that person owns 6 other homes. Think about like, all right, I got my cable bill that's due in Aspen. They have people that handle this for them, but the thought of just that money siphoning out of your account, I said, it's too much. That's too rich.
Even when you're not there for 6 months,
Yes.
and most of the appliances are turned off,
Yeah,
and the lights are turned
still.
off, you still got an electric bill.
Somebody's over there cutting the grass. It's just too much.
If you've got the money, live a great lifestyle. I don't have any problem with it. But how could you possibly ever use all of the things that you have?
You can't use them all.
And what the guy said is that he said a lot of these houses are just empty. They're like they were bought as investments, like by Chinese billionaires, and no one
and they
even
just
lives
sit there.
It's like that's kind of sad, knowing how many people don't have good
Homes.
housing situations,
Yes.
and we've got these, 15-bedroom mansions that no one's living in.
People hear you say, ask for less money. You're absolutely right. Like, you don't want to, I don't know that you want to be in Goodell territory.
Can I live in one of those houses and then I'll just clear out for the 2 weeks a year that
it's
you
like
actually decide
I'll
to
sleep in my car for 2 weeks.
reverse
Bo,
Airbnb.
pack your stuff. They're here.
It's
We gotta go.
The owners are here for their 1 week.
Yes, we're going to the van. Yes.
I'll mow the lawn.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Caretaker. Caretaker's a great
House
fit.
caretaker.
House caretaker. Yes.
It's like Higgins and Magnum PI.
That's exactly right. Magnum was rarely there, and even when he was.
It wasn't Magnum's estate.
Oh,
He
it
lived in
wasn't
the
his,
guest
that's
house.
right.
It was Robin Masters,
That's right.
the novelist who owned
That's
the
right.
estate that Higgins took care of. Although we found out in the finale that Higgins actually was Robin Masters.
Correct.
It was his pseudonym, but he didn't ever want to admit it the whole way.
Yep. Thanks for the Magnum PI.
Welcome. Spoiler alert.
40 years later.
2024.
Sorry.
Magnum PI.
50 years later.
There's already another Magnum PI.
Let's move on.
It's too much.
Come and gone.
It's too much money.
I bring up basketball, and he just goes off on tangents.
Magnum PI.
You never know what you're going to get with basketball. Ben.
Good theme song.
All right.
Great
In the NFL, we spent the whole first hour and a half talking about yesterday's games, the Super Bowl matchup, Super Bowl 58. It is set 13 days from now in Las Vegas. Beloved Adam Klug sent something over yesterday to me. This is a video from Good Morning Football on NFL Network back on September 7th, 2023. And it features Peter Schrager, one of the hosts on Good Morning Football. And Peter Schrager wrote, as he was posting this video, for the last 4 years, I've correctly picked the Super Bowl champion before the season started. Chiefs, Bucks, Rams, Chiefs. Here is my Super Bowl pick for this year. Again, we're going back to September 7th.
And I assume someone checked on this and documented.
Yeah,
and
I don't think you'd say it if you
wrong.
hadn't done it.
September 7th, 2023. Take a listen.
Folks, I've got the script. Chiefs, got it. Bucks, got it. Rams, got it. Chiefs again, got it. I said in August last year that second-year unknown linebacker Nick Bolton was going to make the play of the Super Bowl, and his team would be hoisting a second Lombardi in 4 years, and it exactly happened that way. Ladies and gentlemen, the 49ers will be the number one seed.
He picked the play for last year's Super Bowl. Like,
I don't buy it.
He picked the best play. Like, he's going to make the play
Someone
of the game.
can check on these things, so he can't just say it, and people will check. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, the 49ers will be the number one seed in the NFC this year.
Okay.
Yep.
They'll get their revenge from a year ago, and they will beat the Eagles in a hard-hitting NFC Championship game. Wow. The Cincinnati Bengals will be the number one seed in the AFC, but the Bengals did to the Chiefs in Arrowhead 2 years back, Kansas City will come into Cincinnati and break the Bengals' hearts in their building this year in the AFC Championship game.
It's a little fuzzy audio. I don't know what's going
Kansas
on.
City,
bag of chips and anyway, the Eagles
if you were to have replaced
and the Lions.
Bengals with Ravens.
Bengals with Ravens, he's just
Chiefs
about spot on
in.
again. Chiefs on the road. Okay, now you're just making it.
I'm going to start doing all of my show like I'm eating a bag of chips.
So it'll be 49ers versus Chiefs in Vegas. And as specific
September
as I
7th.
was with Nick Bolton a year ago, I will be specific on this one as well. The winner, with the exact
Just say it for the love of
score
God. Say it.
being 34 to 28. Remember that now. 34 to 28. And with second-year cornerback Trent McDuffie returning a pick six late in the fourth quarter, the Kansas City Chiefs will yet again be your Super Bowl champions.
All right, 34-28. What's the over on this game right now? Do you have it?
I can pull that up.
What's that total? What's 34 plus 28? 52?
It is 64.
64. Close.
No, 62.
62. So let's see. The early lines for the Super Bowl are, we got it at 47.5.
Okay. Hammer the Chiefs in the over, according to Peter Schrager.
Trent McDuffie did play yesterday. Had a couple of passes defended, so it's possible he could get an interception return for a touchdown in the Super Bowl this week and lead the Chiefs to a 34-28 win over the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm here for
but
it.
now everyone knows. It's either right or it's wrong. You've all heard it in advance. Will he be right for a fifth straight year?
It's pretty
on
remarkable.
a Super Bowl pick.
That is. I mean, if it's true, that's very remarkable.
All right, finally, let's get to shower talk. Jessica Biel, my beloved Jessica Biel, was in the news for trying to get people behind the idea of eating and drinking in the shower. Now, I've had a shower beer before.
Shower beers are elite.
They are elite.
Elite.
It's like beer at a baseball game, shower beer. They're right there at the top. They're top tier beers. But Jessica Biel takes it a step beyond that and says she eats in the shower. So she went on TikTok. This was about a month ago. At the end of December, she put this out there and got the conversation rolling.
I think maybe some of you know this about me, but I love to eat in the shower. I love to eat and drink in the shower. Shower appropriate items like cereal or yogurt, coffee, tea, popsicles. I know, melt factor, but safe, you know? Down the drain, anything drops, you're good.
Her eating a popsicle in the shower is the stuff of Legends.
All right, popsicle.
Absolute legends.
I can see because it'll drip and you're already somewhere. But cereal in the shower.
Scrambled eggs, delicious in the shower.
How do you eat? I mean,
you just keep it
with
away
a
from the water.
bowl. That the part of the shower is if something if the water hits it, you can't ruin it, and water would ruin the cereal.
No, people put water in their cereal.
It's just
if they're out of milk, you better put some water on there.
I got no milk.
I'm throwing this away.
I would eat cereal dry before I ate cereal with water.
Me and you both. I would too. You better put some water on that damn ass.
That was back in the end of December that she posted that video, and then somebody commented like, "I need more information. Like, what did
I need you in the shower eating all of these, Jessica Biel."
So she elaborated a little bit more recently, and this is what got everyone talking.
Guys, thanks for all these questions about shower eating. I'm just so thrilled everyone's so interested. I really want to, start a movement, a shower eating movement.
What's the
I think
point?
for
Save
people
time?
who are multitasking, it's just going to be such a huge relief in so many ways. Here's my rules with shower eating. A ledge is really helpful. Something that you can stick your cup, your yogurt container, your coffee, your espresso, whatever it is you're enjoying. But I like to take a bite or a sip and put it on the ledge. And then, you do your thing, you wash your hair, keep the soap out. That's a big deal. Yeah. It's pretty simple, guys. You can do this. Find it deeply satisfying. Only tricky thing is when you're chewing, you got to keep your mouth closed because I still like to get under the water while I'm chewing. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, I want to open my mouth at the same time and spit water. I don't know if that's like a childhood squirt gun situation, a deep-rooted need to spit water in the face of someone. Maybe it's just because I get spit in the face with water all the time by my kids, so I'm just ready at any moment to retaliate. That's the pro tip. Chew, do not open the mouth, do not let the shower water in. There you go. And
Tim says I need a cigarette. Me and you both, Tim. Holy smokes. Woo. God,
I disagree. She said espresso. See, if I'm in a hot shower, I'd want a cool
drink.
Not hot on hot. Doesn't feel right to me.
I've never eaten in the shower. I don't know that I'm planning to now.
Now, I've eaten on the crapper before.
God.
No.
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
Are you an animal?
What?
Yes. I've done, a sandwich.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing. I was
just in case it just wants to pass through really quickly.
No. I grabbed a sandwich, was like, what's the most comfortable seat in the house? I could feel maybe something eventually, and gone and read a magazine, eating a ham sandwich sitting on the dumpster.
You don't feel like there's particulates in the air that are getting on your sandwich?
No more than are normally around my house.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. I swear. No, the guy says I'm lying. Anthony, I swear to God. That's my wife. I think my wife's caught me eating cereal or a sandwich on the toilet before.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
How did you ever get some again?
I swear. No, I've actually done it.
I feel like that's permanent.
It's been a while, but that's probably, scraping the tune off the floor and eating it the other day. I think I've really turned her off.
Forgetting your golf clubs at a golf course.
We went out to a very fancy dinner on Saturday night, and I was like, all right, tonight's definitely the night. No, right to bed. So that happens.
All right. Thank you, Paulie. Good job on the Reindl Report.
I want to talk more about things to eat in the shower. What wouldn't you eat in the shower? Like a ribeye?
Yeah. You need a really big ledge. You need a big ledge for something with that much plate.
I'm really in on this, actually.
Saves time.
That doesn't really work. Yeah. I've also got I've got a Jason Whitlock problem going on my social media feed right now, and I don't know why. I'll explain coming up after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
Well, your deviant behavior is continuing to follow you around, Benjamin.
Sour of Ben and Woods is brought to you by the farmer's dog.
Not that.
Oh. The chat has gone decidedly NC-17 after Paulie's Reindl Report about Jessica Biel eating in the shower. I guess what I realized when I said cereal, no. I don't feel like you should bring utensils into the shower.
It's got to be something you can eat with your hand.
Yeah, it has
perfect.
At the very least, some sort of finger food. Paul, you just said I'd eat a piece of pizza in the shower.
You can't do it.
You can hold a piece of pizza without. You don't want a knife or a fork or a spoon.
But you're not.
Anything.
You're not.
I mean, I wouldn't eat anything in the shower. I don't think.
You're not really in the shower if you have to stand away from the water. You're just standing in the shower.
You can hold the pizza above the
water and then lean your head out
and take a bite.
You would need like the perfect ledge, like nearby. That's not.
You need a plate. You got
range of the water,
and it's the splashback of getting it. I think she's off her rocker. You can't eat much more than a popsicle. Yeah, popsicle's great. It's fantastic. Shower beer's great. Glass of wine, I could see. But food you're going to get the
sandwich.
No,
I would say no.
The bread would. I'll try it tonight.
Especially and then like a Jersey Mike's sandwich that has the lettuce, shredded lettuce. That's just going to be all in your drain. You're going to have shredded lettuce everywhere.
Were you eating it? Why? There's salami and capicola all over the floor.
It doesn't wash down the drain. You're just going to have lettuce on the floor of your shower.
I think Taylor was in there.
Taylor was in there eating his Jersey Mike's. Sorry. It's just not a lot. Yogurt, maybe, but because you can eat a thing of yogurt quick. I mean, you can 2 scoops and you can be in and out, and there's your yogurt, but I just don't see the need to do it.
You just want to spray whipped cream in
That's
your mouth.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one, actually. You can do whippets in there. Wash it right off.
Whatever misses, that's perfect.
Fantastic. So yeah, I didn't really get that from her, but it led to some interesting combos, but it also led to an interesting tidbit we just found out about Ben.
Well,
he keeps getting.
Yeah, since we're on the NC-17 track anyway this morning. There we go. Had the Jason Whitlock story a couple of weeks ago where he was complaining about the ads on his, was it social media? Was it X? It was just his ESPN.
It was on ESPN, the banner
targeted
ad across the top.
Targeted ads. And he had one that was decidedly adult. And I don't really get those. And I figure it's probably because I'm not spending that much time on those websites. But the last 5 days, instead of getting the normal ads on X that I usually get, which are for gambling sites like, hey, if Patrick Mahomes passes for 1 yard, you win, a bet. It's like, okay, that can probably win that one. I keep getting this ad from a company called Lilo for what they call the Enigma Wave. Do you want me to read what they're trying to sell me here?
I think I've seen.
You've seen this?
Do you have the ad?
Yeah, it's right here. It's right up.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that. That is a contraption.
Oh.
Just read the headline there, what it says.
Oh.
Orgasmic revelation.
Save that. Yes. So clean, too. So clean. Orgasmic revelation.
Experience intense blended orgasms using wave motion technology. It's very advanced. I don't know when I'm going to buy one of these. I mean, do I gift them to people? It seems like a personal purchase. It's not something that I'm going to gift to someone else. It doesn't look like it's appropriate for my anatomy based on the shape. Functionality. I don't know why I'm getting these ads.
Because of maybe all the adult...
Let's see that search history.
Yeah, because of all the adult topics broached.
I feel like you're changing my ads by talking about...
Me?
Yeah.
You're literally sitting here wearing an Ass Pro Shops hat. I don't think it's me that you need to worry about. I think it's your... What did I say? Be accountable, okay? I don't get them. I don't get these creepy...
You don't?
No.
Really?
No. I don't get these at all. How much is it, by the way?
Do you want me to click on it? Because then I'll just get more of the same
Then
ads.
You'll start getting texts to your phone. You ready for an orgasmic revolution? Yes.
We see you are interested in this product. Perhaps we would like to interest you in some of our other line of goodies.
It's an orgasmic
I know
Civil
that
War.
I can use the promo code to get a free gift.
What is it?
Lubed.
Save that too, Paul. Save that too.
So I didn't make up the promo code.
Tyler just knows how to use a private browser window. I never use the private, the incognito mode. I've seen it, and I feel like it sends some weird. I think if you use incognito, they send it to like the FBI. So I just stick to the normal.
That would be very smart. Like, we don't look at anyone's browser
this is
history
private.
except when they go onto
Except
private.
when they go on incognito.
And then we are spying the heck out of you.
That I 100% believe that. So I just stick to the normal Google. I promise you, I do not use the
VPN.FBI.gov.
Yeah, like you said, it probably notifies my wife. If you go to incognito, it automatically just sends it to your wife. Everything that you're looking at. Well, I don't know, Benny. I don't know about that thing. There's really no need for us if that thing is making its way into your bedroom.
Orgasmic revelation.
It's so clean.
Orgasmic revelation.
It's so good. That will make an appearance again for sure.
That's tournament of drops, baby.
Yeah, private browsing scares the crap out of me, and you feel like an absolute deviant if you're private. Do you use incognito, Paulie?
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
All right,
they're watching you, dude.
We've got the great Tier 1 Bobby Cressy, who has the worst food for shower eating.
Oh,
I'll
good.
give you that
All
when
right.
we come back.
Good.
If you want to join us on the chat or on the phone calls, 833-288-0973. I'm a little discombobulated here. I have no idea why.
Orgasmic revelation.
Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back. Orgasmic revelation. to our tweet. Best, worst foods to eat in the shower. Coming in at last place, cotton candy.
You're just left holding a stick. Just the
right on that little paper cone
Like
stick.
the second the hot moisture.
You walk right in, it just melts right.
You're just standing in colored sugar.
I tell you what, man. That you want to talk about a silent secret assassin, Padres organist Bobby Cressy. I lament often when I listen to like the Stern show how he's got this staff of like 80. Right? He's got two guys in the back room just doing prank calls all day. He's got this guy, and this guy's out on the streets doing stuff. And I go, man, if I had a staff, if we could have a staff here.
We couldn't even keep Hammer.
Yeah, we couldn't keep Hammer, dude. If we could have a staff. Bob Cressy, on his piano and organ, keyboards, whatever, every day with a microphone in front of him. He is one of the most clever human beings alive.
Now, he'd have to live my lifestyle because most of his gigs are at night, and then he'd have to get up in the morning.
He has to do that anyway, man. He's got kids.
That's true.
You know, he does it anyway. But he would be like my first round draft pick. All right, you have a budget of X. Go out. I'd say Bob Cressy on the keys every day, microphone in front of him. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. I'm so glad he's a part of the Christmas show.
Ben and Woods featuring Paul Reindl.
And he does
Bobby Cressy.
No, he's the announcer.
Oh, he'd be doing the
announcer. Yes. Oh, it'd be great, man. He is just the best. He is just the best. But yeah, cotton candy, that will do it. Chili, I saw, made a appearance.
Anything again that requires spoons, knives, forks. Not really great for shower eating.
I'm getting people DMing me about that machine that you talked about.
Orgasmic revelation.
Yeah.
It's called an Enigma Wave, which sounds more like something you'd use to break a World War II code.
The Enigma Wave.
The Enigma Wave.
Yep.
But that's not what it's for.
The company is called Lalo, I think.
Lilo.
What was that?
That's the
Hold on. What'd you say, Ben?
Lubed. That's the discount code.
What is the code again, Ben? Ben, what's the code?
Lubed.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Don't know how I'll use that,
but
but
we
I know I will
it.
use that.
Yeah, 100%. What do you want to do? You want to take some calls?
Sure, if you want. 833-288-0973. The topics are
It's open.
fairly open at this point. Let's check traffic. And,
there's open phones, and then there's really open
There's
phones.
really open phones if you want to call in, and we will take your calls right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the San Diego Zoo. Some trouble on the coastline now. Southbound side of the 5 at Loma Santa Fe. Middle lanes blocked with this accident. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All February, guests 65 and older enter free at San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Enjoy the sights on the African Tram. Come face-to-face with tigers. Enjoy refreshments at Kajami Overlook. There's something for everyone.
Yeti, it's not Lubbed. That's lubbed. That's a totally different word.
Is that a word? Is lubbed a word?
I don't think lubbed is a word. Let's see. Dan says spin the topic wheel.
All right, spin it.
Or the question wheel. We can do that. Let's spin the topic wheel for the last couple. You know what I'd like to do too? Because we were going to play Ben Likes on Friday, and then Craig came in for a little crossover. We never got to it. Save the last couple of minutes for things Ben likes. Let's spin the topic wheel once or twice, and we'll get to the Annie and Elston show.
That's right.
I think we've done this one, and maybe it was not replaced.
I don't remember this.
Would you rather never be able to hear music again or lose the ability to read?
We've done this one.
We have?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll skip the music. I like to read.
I'll never skip the music. I love
wanna,
to read too, so it'd be a torture chamber for me. But
you think we've done that one?
Yeah.
It's not so much like the ability to read a book. I think it's like the ability to read anything.
Signs.
You couldn't.
I mean, I have a general idea what the signs say at 48 years old. Now I kind of know. Stop. Yield.
Liners. I mean, it'd be tough to do the show without the ability to read.
Not really.
I think it would be.
It wouldn't.
Almost impossible.
No.
Says the guy that doesn't do the liners.
That's true. I mean, if he was out, I would be out too. Ben's taking vacation. I'm out, Paulie, unless you want to read all the lines.
But like
you can listen to
reading about
audiobooks.
games and reading like Dennis's Lynn latest piece on the
Who's
Padres.
Dennis's Lynn? What is Dennis's Lynn?
It's my new band.
Dennis's Lynn. Holy crap, that made me sweat. Dennis's Lynn. Dennis's Lynn. Oh, man. It's incredible. Next.
Spin again, please.
I don't know why they got me so much.
We just did this one.
Yeah, we got.
What is happening?
I don't know.
Turn the mics off for a second. Where are they?
They're over here.
Why are we getting repeats?
All right, the website's glitching out because I literally just removed one and it popped back up.
Would you rather never be able to hear music?
Oh my God!
The ability to read.
It was like Ben the other day.
We can't even get the topic wheel to work right now.
Remember when you were repeating the other day on the radio? There was the glitch during the storm,
Yes.
but it was repeating the same phrase over and over and over.
All right, I got one here.
All right, here we go.
What movie is so bad that it's actually entertaining to watch?
A bunch of them. Roadhouse, phenomenal, and they're remaking it, which I don't understand entirely. Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be playing the Patrick Swayze role. Roadhouse is so bad that it's so brilliant. Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth. One of my favorite movies of all time. Lance Henriksen, he's in a motorcycle gang. Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man with Mickey Rourke and Don Johnson. Incredibly bad, brilliant movie.
I think Anchorman is really bad, but I actually lean into the really badness of it. I know
it's a good call.
They're kind of partly going for that as well, but
can I say when I saw Anchorman the first time, I did not get it, and I couldn't stand it. And then I watched it again, and I went, all right, I get it now. And it was really, really good. But yeah, that's a good one. Role Models, it's a great one. It's so bad, it's entertaining. I like that. Crossroads with Ralph Macchio, yes.
See, I thought Role Models was just funny. It made me laugh.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was just funny.
I think of movies like Sharknado was
stuff like
awful,
that.
but you're like, I can't really turn away.
I'm
already watching it.
Yeah, I like that. Ben doesn't watch a lot of bad, stupid movies.
Yeah, the B movie type.
Yeah.
I don't watch a lot of them.
I love that.
Another one?
Napoleon Dynamite. So dumb, but so good.
Oh, that's a good
call.
So
that's a good call.
Yeah.
I have seen that one. Yeah, let's do another spin here.
Would you guys rather lose the ability to hear music or read?
What movie is so bad? This one is, do you have any scars and what happened?
Tons.
Emotional scars.
Ben, sit on the couch.
What happened?
I only have one. I think I only have one real scar. So I don't even remember.
Can't even find it.
I can't see it. It's like way on the outside. So I had a birthmark that was too dark, and they removed it when I was a baby, and it was just on my arm, and it left a scar. But
you don't have a scar from like splitting your lip or your chin?
I'm fairly careful.
I got a chin one.
Yeah.
Here. I've got one. You see it right above my eye.
How did that one
elbowed
happen?
Playing flag football.
Ooh.
Clean, sharp elbow right to the eye. I've got a dog bite scar on my leg. I've got an elbow surgery scar here.
Oh, yeah.
You can see that one. I think that's it, really. I don't have a ton.
It's a lot. Paulie, what about you?
The most scars I actually have acne scarring a little bit on my face. I had horrible acne as a teenager, like really, really bad acne. Had to go on a medication.
This is like Ben telling me
I
nobody
always
came to his birthday parties. It makes me sad.
I've told you.
I felt really bad.
We talked about Accutane.
And there was nothing they could do about it, but the kids who definitely had to deal with that. I mean, I had a couple of zits, but it wasn't like that serious problem that some. And I always felt bad because I knew it wasn't their fault, but someone who got made fun of sometimes in school, I would think, they're going to get made fun of for that, and that's not okay.
The worst part was like it got really bad, and my mom took me to a dermatologist, and they said, Clearasil or whatever is not going to help.
Right.
We're going to get you on Accutane, which a lot of people have taken.
Yeah, my brother did it.
And the problem is, though, it dries your face up so bad, it like pushes all that crap out.
It gets worse.
It gets worse before it gets way better, though. It's damn near, like, I never had acne again after that. It was life-saving. It was great.
I get acne more now than I did when I was 16. My forehead is
sucked, man.
It's terrible, dude.
Like,
terrible.
I don't look at pictures of me in high school. Freshman and sophomore year. It was awful.
Yeah, my brother had that. Of course, I used to wear him out about it, too, so that makes me feel good. Big bully.
But I got my wife. She's Mrs. Skincare routine.
Yes.
So she's got me
Got you
all dialed in.
She's got me dialed as well.
Yeah.
Anthony has maybe the worst scar story that I've seen in the chat. He says, I have a 2-foot-long scar from sliding over a nail on a slip and slide.
Oh, my.
Oh! 2 feet. On his belly?
I would assume.
Leg?
I mean, it could be either side, but just snagged it and just tore 2 feet.
2 feet is this much.
Anthony, can you add in the chat exactly where is this 2-foot scar on his leg? I guess that's better than the torso or belly, but still pretty bad. Because 2 feet is pretty much, like foot to knee or knee to hip, like all the way up.
Oh, my God, that's gnarly. Poor guy. Poor Paulie. I'm sorry for you guys.
Better for it now.
Yeah, better for
all
it.
Good.
Yeah, kids are mean with acne and stuff.
They are so mean.
Pizza face.
Yeah.
It's awful. You secretly called them pizza face.
I did not.
Secretly.
No,
because you got
I
called you Ben the big
I'm
fat
very
head.
empathetic. And that made me less of a bully because I had empathy.
Oh, all right. Let's get out of here.
Let's get to some things Ben likes since we didn't get to it on Friday.
Pizza face.
Yeah.
I like good, juicy, sweet strawberries.
I like a good marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh, no, I like it creamy.
I like good, firm banana. I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating. I like moist. I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song.
I like Squirt.
I like sake. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paula Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like science experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like brown sugar. I like maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner.
I like going to golf games. I like diving into chores. I like sugar. I do like Butterfinger. I like blue and silver are not bad colors. I like the time change. I like Major League Baseball's new rule. I like the radio. I like geography. I like the knuckle method. I like Skippy. And I like pie. I like Bob Melvin. I really do. I like Jace Tingler, too. I like this guy. I like being right. I still do like movie scores. I like good food. I like maps. I like when interviews can turn into organic conversation. I do like a Stouffer's French bread pizza. I like having the wind go through my hair. I think I like shows that the characters have an arc. I like the full lettuce, tomato, onion experience as well. I like those kind of burgers. I like the big overflowing bag of fries. I like those little Smarties rolls. I liked what I saw from Seth Lugo. I liked his competitive fire. I like walking around between the different lands. Steve Kerr, though, I like that. I like living on the coast. I like watching Tiger still. I like the idea of that matchup. I liked what I saw in the preseason. I like the aloneness sometimes of Texas Hold'em. I like watching San Diego State basketball. I like those cashew buttered cashews. I like cold, clear sake.
He really likes things that are crisp and firm.
Do
small.
I do not like Balsamic Vinny's scar story. I stepped on a piece of red hot rebar at the beach and it went through my foot. Just never want to walk barefoot anywhere ever again after that.
Oh my God, that's so good. I like when you go Steve Kerr. I like that. So good.
This might have been the most problematic hour of Ben and Woods history.
It's all right.
Just topic-wise, I would say.
We needed one.
Got us through the end of Monday, though, and got you set up for Annie and Elston, who will be coming up next. Craig can fill you in more on that crazy Sockers game and how it ended. That was absolutely wild last night.
Not as wild as that last 45 minutes.
We will be back tomorrow. Will we have a guest on, or will we continue our streak of guest-free programs in the morning? Tune in to find out at 6 a.m. For producer Paul Reindl, not, booking any guests over there. For Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins.
Dig in, Paulie. Stay strong. Stay
Have a great
strong.
rest of your Monday from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan. So long.